Hello, welcome back to another episode of Two Dudes Drinking Beer. My name is Josh.
My name is Alec.
Let's see, it's August now. That's cool. It's the 2nd of August.
Sure is.
We're one step closer for me going to school.
And I go back to work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good for you.
I am happy about it.
Feels like it's been forever since we've done the show. Don't know what I'm doing. Got to get back in the flow. Today's 2DDBFFOTD, the fun fact of the day, the being out of the butthole.
The butthole.
What's up, Flex Tape? It's been a hot minute.
F-tape.
You hate us. Saturn is the only planet in our solar system that can float in water.
Saturn?
Yeah. It's the second biggest planet, but it's also the lightest.
I didn't know if you knew this about Saturn, but it could also float in space. So
can Earth.
so can Earth and all the other goddamn planets.
But theoretically, if you were to take Saturn and drop it in water, it would float.
It'd be a fuck ton of water.
It would be, yes.
Think of all the water displacement. Think of all the water you need, the Olympic-sized swimming pool, and then all the Olympic-sized water displacement. It'd be a fuck ton.
Yes.
It'd be a mess. I wanted to start this one off with a shotgun, and then we can go to what we're drinking. We're drinking another one from Rogue, inspired by Basquatch, but I wanted to start this off with a shotgun because I'm going back to work tomorrow, and I'm happy, and that seems like what you do when you celebrate. Also, I'm really hungry, and this is going to make food taste real good. So today we're going to be talking about the documentary American Factory on Netflix, as brought to our attention by Ghost Hand.
Plant Daddy.
Plant Daddy or Ghost Hand? Oh, Plant Daddy. I thought it was Ghost Hand.
We just invited everybody to come on if they wanted to.
Oh yeah, everyone's gonna be coming on who saw it.
It's like a book club.
It's gonna be a forum, yeah.
You know, assuming they do.
Long form book club. Gonna just plop.
That's not how you do it.
That's how I do it. That's how I do it now. Shit.
Dumbass.
Anyway. Nailed it. Grab a beer and hang out with us, guys. We got a long one. It's going to get probably a little weird. It's going to be very political, probably. And, we'll see how it goes. But the podcast has been good, man. Sticking to the schedule. We might have to switch up the schedule a little bit depending on my work schedule, which is to be determined, but shouldn't be anything detrimental. Just waiting for this to fucking bubble down. You're ready to go. Like whipped cream on a fucking frappe. Yeah. Give it to me.
That's what happened. This is why you gotta pour it slow.
I know. I was also considering, though, like, they say you want it to bubble up. That way the CO2 and the carbonation gets out. That way it doesn't fill your belly as much.
I want to burp.
Well, I just want to
Okay, well, we're keeping the people waiting.
They can wait. We have 2 people we're waiting on. Okay, fine. Yeah.
If people want to drink copious amounts of alcohol.
All right, let's drink copious amounts.
Otherwise, we're just boring.
Good start. No burps. CO2 broken.
Wow.
That one doesn't count. That's a burp from earlier.
I don't think so, sir.
It totally is.
Feels more professional.
Well, that's not what we're going for.
You have been gone for a while, sir.
It has been a minute since you've blessed us with your presence. But yeah. If it feels more professional, that's good. I mean, I think not professional is the word I'm looking for. I think official is the word I'm looking for. I want to be official. I want to be like, damn, that's a podcast. That one doesn't count either. But
okay.
But professional probably is not the word that I think about.
I'm a professional podcaster.
Yeah, you can't be a professional podcast. It's like just being a professional asshole online. But thank you. Yeah, official. Official. I want to look official. In the meantime, The American Factory is about a documentary about a Chinese billionaire opening up a factory around Dayton, Ohio.
In Dayton.
In Dayton, Ohio, to bring business but also make money. And he's from China. And that's all you really need to know. I don't remember his name. It's Chairman Chow. So we're drinking another beer by Rogue.
Colossal Claude.
It goes and stuff feels like Stan.
Yeah, I want to get rid of my hair.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, I love how that's what makes it more official is like this shit at the bottom. Like, buzz his hair. Get 50 followers.
250.
Oh, shit. Read the bottom of the can. How cool is that?
Want to chat? Text us.
I kind of want to text them.
Do it. See what happens.
I fucking will.
Well, what's the stat distribution? A lot of citrus.
Oh, yeah. I got to
Little bit
check
of
that
pine.
out.
75 IBUs. This is a bitter boy. 8.2. Jesus fucking Christ.
8.2?
And then SAM 9.4. 9.4 SAMs.
Should I call or just text?
Text. It says text.
Okay.
Doesn't say call.
I'm on the wrong thing then.
Apparently a Colossal Claude is something. It's a thing, not just a name of a beer.
It's going to sign me up for like Pornhub subscriptions or something for the rest of my life.
Oh, it's a sea monster, Colossal Claude. Spotted near the Columbia River in Oregon.
It's a what?
It's a sea monster in Oregon.
So like Nessie, but
In Oregon. In a river.
hey, I'm trying the Colossal Claude. Boom, sent. Making friends at Rogue.
I wonder if it says that on the bottom of Batsquatch.
We should go check it out because I never flipped that can. You want me to go check it out, or do you want to? It's right
We'll
there.
do it later. We literally just fucking said
We just
it,
gave
my
you the
guy.
briefing, and then we're going to give you the critique.
A Chinese billionaire bought
Built a factory.
here to produce automotive glass. Well, not here, but in Ohio, in the States.
The reason we're talking about it is because apparently there's a lot of like it's human rights violations, right? Or like they break a lot of the laws, it seems, and
They want to.
And
Because China
they don't know how to do business in America.
China number one.
China number one. So anyway, we're waiting for the boys.
This smells
Whew.
stanky.
It's got some stank to it. Whoa.
How did you spill?
It smells like a pesto pasta sauce. Like a, you know what I'm saying? Like a
Well, it's supposed to be citrusy.
awesome. What did you think?
got
Oh, they texted me back.
You got-
Here, cheers. So I can respond. That tastes like food.
It's good. It's good. Tell them we're doing it live on a show.
Okay. It tastes like food though, right? It tastes like like an Italian pasta vibe. I don't know how to explain that.
It, yeah, it tastes kind of caramelly.
What's the other one? The Bat Squatch?
Yeah.
How do I spell that?
BAT
All one word?
SQU, yes. SQUATCH. Bat. Squaw. Tsh.
Okay. I can't spell favorite. There you go. It's great. Bat Squatch is one of my favorites. We're reviewing you on the show. We're reviewing you.
On our live show.
Viewing you on our live. I'll say podcast.
In front of a live studio audience.
Just growls.
Get the laugh track going.
It's great. Basquatch is one of my favorites. We're reviewing it on our live podcast. Let's see how long this conversation goes.
I really don't know how to describe this beer, though.
It tastes like a goddamn Italian dinner. That's the best I can do. Like,
It's good. I recommend it if you can find it.
it's
where you
pesto
are.
saucy, bro. It's like pesto and chicken sauce.
Well, based on the stat distribution, it's all citrus.
It's not citrus, bro. I'm drooling and shit. It's pesto-y. It's fucking... Forget about it. It's a fucking dinner
It's
beer.
herby.
Huh?
Have you talked about the song you're making
What song?
with Flex Tape?
Hang on.
Writing an intro similar to
Was there
the
any interest in to the one song?
Radiohead.
Okay. Can we check out that song? We can't play it, can we?
Not really.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Josh, I think definitely knows we've been working on the song because I've been going over to your place and working on it. It's coming along well. I don't typically show him much. I've definitely shown him you playing the guitar parts on it. But aside from that, I haven't shown him any lyrics, I don't think. And then it looks like we're about to be making a bunch of changes. So I try not to show people too much before it's released because
You might get a different product.
you might get a different product. And if Josh or anyone comes out the other end and it's like, whoa, you changed the key, the intro, all the lyrics, like it's not bad to get some feedback every now and then, but like I feel like most people would be listening for enjoyment and
Too early.
And if you include them in the entirety of the process, one thing I've noticed when I work on music is it kind of burns you out.
You don't enjoy it anymore?
Not that I don't enjoy it anymore, but like through the mixing phase, the recording phase, like we're in the writing phase right now. It is by far the most fun phase because it's the creation process, right? It is the process. When people say trust the process, that's where we are right now. Everything else after that, after we're done, after we put all the dots in the I's and the crosses on the T's, everything after that is going to be just basically work. And that's like one of the most tedious things because you have to record, re-record, get the right take, mix, master, and then publish. And it sounds like 3 steps, but it's a lot of work. And it's one of those things that people overlook. But if you show them something and they expect something to come out of it, and then you release something completely different, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's not what I thought I liked before. It's completely different." So, yeah. And I'm glad you like writing the song, man. I'll definitely have to check out that intro you're talking about. Do it. Definitely write something like the intro. I gotta hear that intro now. I'm so curious. I'll take a note because
Listen to Radiohead.
well, I know Radiohead, but I don't remember the intro for Airbag.
Listen to more Radiohead.
More Radiohead.
Commit Radiohead to memory.
Give Radiohead.
Give head to radio.
Okay, there it goes. I have it noted to listen to it, and I will. But yeah, if you want to, like I said, man, you have full free range. If you want to do something, do it. Just remember the key that it's in, and if you want to change keys, it's pretty
Change fucking time signatures.
pretty ambitious. If you want to change time signatures, you can do all that. You could do whatever you want, man. There's no, like I said, rule number 1, there are no fucking rules. But just make sure you follow all the rules. You know what I'm saying? So
All the rules that don't exist.
well, it's like the best phrase I've ever heard was you got to know the rules before you break them. So right, like if I was singing a song lyrically and I was like falling down, you'd go, oh, falling down. His notes kind of descend like falling down. But if I go falling down, you go, well, why is he going up when he's falling down? Theoretically, that's a huge debate in a lot of music classes that I've taken. And people go, why would he do that? And it's like, maybe it just sounded better. But
Stylistic choice.
But a lot of people go, oh, stylistically, this era, and that's the crazy thing. A lot of people can like place the era that style is in. And
that's obnoxious.
It is. It's super pretentious, which is why it's like the pretentious people in the music industry and in the music classes are the fucking worst. But to their respect, they have been doing it since they were 10. So I understand how it could be mundane to them to talk about something about a few notes going up or a few notes going down. They want something crazier to happen. But at the same time, hey, Plant Daddy, what's up?
Get in the Discord, sir.
Get in the Discord. We're ready to go about this fucking American factory discussion.
Speaking about doing things forever, Chinese children working in factories making glass.
Were there Chinese children in those factories?
Fucking at one point, remember when all the white guys went out to China and they were at that dinner?
Yeah.
And they said, everybody performing in this show works for the company.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after they said that, kids ran out and started dancing. I don't know what role they played in it, but they were wearing fucking chicken suits and
That's
they were
a
dancing.
good point. I
wrote that down.
I completely overlooked that and just thought it was the people's kids.
Hey, they said everyone performing works for the company.
I completely overlooked that.
I had to rewind that. I had to go back.
I rewinded a few things, but that one completely went over my head. I would have been like, oh.
It's China. They do shit different.
Oh, cute little kids. Like, just running around in chicken suits. Like, that's fun.
No worries.
Yeah, man. We're not really in a rush. We're basically going to do the podcast, and then the highlight would be talking about the American Factory with you guys. So, if you want me to talk about something that's been happening in the meantime, the one thing I have written down is Instagram thoughts. What are your take on Instagram thoughts?
Like THOUG.
THOTS.
Oh, Instagram whores. Pot of greed. I play Pot of Greed. I bet you didn't see this one coming. I summon Pot of Greed.
I use my Visa card, allowing me to buy 1,000 more life points.
What do I think about Instagram whores? They're annoying.
Okay. What do you think about how they advertise and reach out? You ever get those cluster messages? Those fucking, hey.
I changed my message settings so not any random person can message me.
You need to show me that then. Because I've got a problem going on. It's an epidemic. Every goddamn week.
That just shows you who you interact with, sir.
Every goddamn week, 3 or 4 of these Instagram hoes hit me up. Hey, link to my OnlyFans account. And there's like 300 people in a group chat. Just fucking dudes. You know how fucking wrong that'd be if one girl was in a bar with 100 dudes and was just like, do you guys want to see my boobs?
That's why
in a bar in public, it's fucking...
That's why it's done on the power of the internet,
Something bad's going to happen to that girl. But on the internet, she's like, hey, do you guys want to see my boobs to 100 guys? And we're just like, yeah. I'll pay $5 to see your boobs. I could see your boobs once a month. I'll pay you $10. I'll pay you $10.
More than that.
I don't know how much they pay because I'm not a chump.
You've never clicked on any of the pages and seen how much it costs, and then did a cross-benefit analysis on how much it would cost because you could just cancel.
Are you fucking high? Are you running a goddamn subscription service?
No, but you see how you see how much a page costs. Let's say it's $5 on sale. It's usually $12.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it usually goes. So you pay $5 for 30
Wait,
days.
$12 is like the median. Sorry. Couldn't hold my nut. I don't know what to do with this. Hold it. I'll get some napkins, I guess. It's off camera. Just pretend like it never happened. Here, don't hold this. I don't know what happened. Nothing happened over here. All better.
I'm getting a new notebook soon.
I fucking hope so. There's like 3 pages left, and and 2 of them are used for fucking notes to a goddamn documentary. That's the word. Anyway.
All right.
Instagram host.
So.
Bink.
It's lost forever.
See, I don't even want to click on that. I don't. I also don't want to take away your.
Yes, it's on Netflix.
Yeah. I also don't want to take away your privileges, so just like.
Okay, so you click on one of their links, right? You go in their bio, it's like a link tree, and you click on the OnlyFans. You click on the OF, right? It says,
Hey, he responded. This is a real person doing something right now at work.
It's a social media manager.
I'm happy.
What'd they say?
Well, go finish your story.
I want to know what they said.
We just waited 15 minutes. We have to wait 30 to respond now. That's
No,
the
we
law.
don't. No,
That's
we don't.
the goddamn
We are
law.
fucking eager.
Okay,
You
we
and both I.
We'll drink
both
the
know.
beer, and then we'll be like, "Hey, this is a good beer." And every time we drink the beer, we'll be like, "Hey, this is a good beer." And then we'll respond. Hey, this is a good beer. It tastes like a presto pasta. Anyway.
Tastes earthy.
Oh shit! I actually didn't see the first message. They said, "That's awesome. Hope the podcast goes great. Thank you for trying it." They sound like They sound like they're done talking to us.
Now drop a link.
Should I?
Yeah.
All right. What's the link?
Twitch.tv/2 dudes drinking beer.
All right.
No, we just make sure that link.
You want to just text me? Oh hey. Oh shit! I'm a genius. I have my computer here.
Yes.
Here's us.
Twitch.tv/2
Boom.
dudes
No, I'm gonna
drinking
text
beer.
myself from my computer.
Just text it to them from your computer.
Oh, that's smart too.
Fucking idiot.
Blop.
And then just don't text them ever again.
Okay. Easy. Nailed it.
What's up, Rogue Brewing Company? If
What's
you're
up,
watching
bro?
this,
How's it going, bro? We like a lot of your beers, apparently. We have pasta dinner over here and Bat Squatch over there. I don't remember what Bat Squatch tasted like, but I know I like it.
so her page is $5. It's on sale. The regular price is like $12. It's like 65%
Yeah.
for 30 days, right? You buy it, you cancel it immediately, so it doesn't renew.
I did that on a Twitch channel. I paid them $4. I was like, you guys, dude, I'll talk about that in a second.
$4.99.
Yeah,
But
I'll talk about that in a second.
So you cancel it right away, so it doesn't renew for that $12 price.
Yeah.
And basically, you're betting that they post more often so you get your money's worth. And you're also betting that they post things that aren't locked behind a paywall. So it's a gamble. You're risking your
It's insurance fraud is what you're telling me.
No. How is it insurance fraud?
I don't know. Just wanted to make it
You're betting $5 that you can see at least.
That's a great way to look at it, though.
Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it. Like, people subscribe to our channel because they're betting every Monday and Wednesday we have a show. And sometimes I have a tummy ache and I don't feel like it. But for the most part, people do bet on that. That's the channel I paid for.
Sunny B1 Blackheart.
Black Media.
Are they black?
They're a record label. No. Why would you say that?
That's just a fucking
Why do you
question.
jump to that? It's Black Media.
Black Media presents.
Yeah. Really good. Every day they live stream and it's a live performance. I think I told you they had like a concert. It was amazing. And people were like jamming out. It was great. It's basically what I was doing over quarantine.
Well, sir, they're not live right now.
Well, they have other people who go live. Oh, they're live. It's
They're offline.
Oh. Well, they have other people who are part of their record label.
Live music morning show. Sunny and the Black Pack.
Yeah. Sonny's a great fucking...
Yeah, it's just a bunch
musician.
of white dudes.
Yeah, just a bunch of white people.
In the Black Pack.
Yeah, it's... I mean, you know... Tensions are a little hot right now, but... that's for them to decide and work
Fuck
out.
wants to know if the Jack Jaw helped you.
Yeah, I think the Jack Jaw helped. Josh said it helped. I still have
You can
them.
tell in the before and after pictures.
Yeah, Josh pointed out my jaw was a little more what's the narrow
Defined.
defined. It definitely helps.
Can't fucking see it now with the beard, but
Can't see it now with the beard, but I also haven't done the Jack Jaw for a few months. But
they stopped sponsoring us.
yeah, so
That's how that works.
I did the challenge. The challenge worked out. It's a good product. The product works. The product is like anything I ever say. If you do it every goddamn day, you're going to get better at it.
I bought a grip strength trainer. Those things you just click with the spring.
Yeah.
I used that for like 4 days straight, and my forearms were popping.
Oh shit! you do have a really strong grip. Okay, let me get the left hand. Dude, okay. That hurts a little. That hurts this much. They responded.
It goes from 20 to 90 pounds.
They responded. Are you ready?
Oh my
So I
God.
just need to get 50 people to... Yes! So I just need to get 50 people to describe and you shave your head. Yes. So, Josh, want to fill them in on that?
Yeah. Rogue Brewing Company, if you're watching this right now live, hello, social media guy. Or
thanks
gal.
for tuning in and hanging out with us.
So subscribers on Twitch are paid. If you want to get us 50 YouTube subscribers, go ahead. I'll still do it. I'll count that. We're at 44 right now, 41. So I can do the math and subtract it, and then this will go away, and I'll shave my head. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll make an addendum to it.
Hell yeah. Could you imagine sponsored by Rogue Brewing Company, bro? We love their shit. This is... Okay, so for... If you are in the podcast and you're hanging out with us, we loved Bat Squatch. We have something called the wall beers. All of our favorite beers go up on that wall. It's over here. It's on the set. You could see it in the previous podcast with Robert.
In the wide.
Because it's just behind him. But Bat Squatch was one of the first beers. It's like got a really great can, really great artwork, and it just is like really smooth for something that is, an IPA with 8 point whatever.
What they say?
Chill, bro. I'm talking to him right now.
I want to know what you said.
I'm talking to him right now. And yeah, man,
This is exciting.
Rogue is a great
It's a good brewery. They make good
brewery.
shit.
Oh man, he says we're hanging out. So I guess he's in the
Let's do it.
I guess he's in the podcast.
This is professionalism.
This is
This is the professional workforce. Get paid, make beer, and just watch two assholes drink your beer.
Yeah, I mean
That's awesome.
Well,
that's the dream.
That's the new age, bro. We're on the wave. Here, no. This is almost. You need another Rogue beer, bro.
I do.
Wow, this is a really good beer. See, that's advertising.
Yeah. It's a good thing you turn your cans upside down.
I know, right? How fucking awesome.
Want to chat?
Amen. Definitely on the assholes part. Oh man, this is so cool. I don't even know how to respond to you. Should I just keep talking in the podcast, or do you want me to text you back? Because I love this.
Well, it sounds like they're hearing what you're saying.
Send us our details, and we'll send you a care package.
Okay. Yeah.
Josh is in charge of all that. So I'm just the asshole personality, like you said. Definitely the assholes drinking beer. But
do you just want our shipping info? Because I can send you that right now.
Yeah,
Podcast
just
lovely. Thank you,
dude. Awesome. This is exactly what we wanted. I love this. Super huge shout out to Rogue, dude.
That's fucking awesome.
How dope. Imperial. And I'm gonna chug this. We're gonna get sauced on Rogue beer, bro.
And then talk about humanitarian issues in fucking American companies. Hell yeah.
Yeah, hope you guys like getting political. Sorry. None of this is scripted, but this is kind of how we end up on the show. Here. I'm going to finish this one. Yeah, that's a really good beer. That's my angle. Nice. It does go down pretty smooth.
It does. For having 75 IBUs, it's not bitter at all. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just like we've grown to feel nothing. We're at the next step of drinking. Way before. I've been there. I've stared into the abyss. The abyss stares back. Fuck yeah, dude. That's baller. Dude, this would be our first care package or anything from an actual...
For real sponsorship, basically. I count that as a sponsorship.
I count that as a sponsorship too.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. I mean, we've been sent stuff before, but for the show, beer makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's awesome. I'm so happy right now.
Dude, I'm so happy right now. Are you kidding me?
That's cool.
I don't know how to keep text. I'm just going to leave that there, and if they want to text or whatever, they can text and we'll respond. But These Instagram hoes. Yeah, sorry. Okay,
so-
we get political.
You do that. You pay the $5 once, and then
It's a gamble. I like the way you, because like when insurance, I was always told you pay your car insurance saying I'm going to get into an accident,
Right.
And then your car insurance goes, no, you're not.
Same thing with health insurance and life insurance.
I'm gonna die. No, you're not.
Any sort of insurance is a gamble.
A bet. You're saying I'm gonna fucking break my leg, and you have to pay for it.
But then you also have the people who look at it like, I have this, I'm just going to crash my car. I'm sure some people think like that.
Well, yeah, it is, and that's when I said insurance fraud.
Well, I mean,
That's what you sign up for. I will not pretend to break my leg.
yeah.
You will only pay me if I actually break my leg. Bold underline.
So you
Actually.
So you front the $5, and then let's say you do this 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
First bitch, everything's locked behind a paywall. You have to pay extra to see her boobs. You get nothing else. Everything's
Aw.
covered. It's like she does like lingerie stuff, but then you have to pay extra to actually see her bits.
Her tiddly bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second one is cool. You can see her boobs, but she doesn't post often. It's like maybe
Are you talking tier? This is a tier list you're talking about?
It's just 3 different scenarios. Each of them are $5. You clicked on 3 links.
And you chose $5 as like a base price.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a pretty average
Okay.
price. The second one, cool. You can see her boobs, no paywalls. She just doesn't post often. Like maybe 3 times a month.
Yeah.
And then the third one, fucking awesome. Everything, no paywalls. You get it for $5. Her regular price is $20.
Usually around that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just on sale for $5. Or her regular price is
Gotcha.
$20.
Yeah.
Because there's no paywalls, that's why they usually have that price higher because they don't have the paywalls. So you pay more up front and you get it all in the back end.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, not
It's
like
a give and take.
not like well, what I've heard from a lot of people is that it's a lot of not worth it. I've heard a lot of people say it's like
Really depends.
it's just girls like cute girls, but they're like just in their pajamas posing for like a pillow fight.
It really depends. I'm going to expose myself real quick.
You don't have to do this.
I'm
man.
going to.
All right.
I'm all hopped up on serotonin
Ooh.
right
See, that's sexy, but
now. She's a paywall.
not worth $5.
She is a paywall.
You paid for that.
Her page is free, but everything else is locked behind a paywall.
Got it.
So I actively subscribe to 29 accounts. That also includes free ones. Paid ones, it's only like 5.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, no judgment.
That one I just did. All these ones that have blue were my experiments. Or my
that you paid for.
$5 bets.
I love the way you word that too, because like it totally is that, man.
All the ones that have blue are my $5 bets.
Those were girls you were like cute enough, or
Yeah.
what was the appeal? You're just like cute enough. I like they're
Yeah.
what I find attractive, most attractive.
Yes. I can't show this on stream. We'll get banned.
Obviously not. There's nudity, but look, here's
So
here's
there's
what,
1, 2, 3, 4.
here's what I'll
5,
say.
6.
Yes, you probably follow 20 some odd accounts, but I go on Pornhub every night. So I mean, if you pay for your porn, pay for your porn. I think people should stop shaming. I think there's this weird stigma of like paying for shit, right? And I've learned for a long time now, if I could pay $1 for the games on my iPhone to have no ads, I'd pay that fucking $1, bro.
You could just throw your phone in airplane mode.
Holy shit.
But some games won't let you play it if you're in airplane mode.
I never realized that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look at this shit. Anyway.
Using notebook paper to clean up spills.
Anyway, my main point being like, what's my fucking main point? If you could pay, I've been on YouTube lately, and remember the days when you'd go to the video store, rent a video, watch the movie at home? You ever do that?
Back in the day, yeah, like 20 years ago.
Back in the day, I used to do that too. No, I didn't drive there, but you know, I was there. Anyway.
You were taken there.
I was taken there. And basically what happens is there's just like this moment of like, we got this movie, we're gonna watch this movie. And it's like the movie's either good or the movie's bad. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. what matters is that you're there watching the movie, right? I've been doing that more on YouTube. And on YouTube, you can like buy and rent movies. So I'll rent movies for like $2.
Some of them are even free with ads.
Some of them are free with ads. And I love that. But when you put $2 down, like you said, it's like a bet.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I'll like this movie. I watched a movie last night. It cost me $2.99. It was called Snatch. It had like Brad Pitt in it. And it was from 2001. It was a good movie. It wasn't great, but it was worth two fucking dollars. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'll pay $2 for that again.
Successful bet.
Successful bet. It was. If you asked me for $10, I'd be like,
Nah. I'll pirate
now
it.
it's $10. I'd go up to maybe $5.99. It was that good.
Yeah.
But that's how the market, determines its value, right? Is like, do people pay this much for the movie? Yeah, paid $2 for the movie. It was a good enough movie. I was entertained for 2 hours. That's $1 an hour. That's $1 an hour for entertainment. I have paid way more for way less. So, I think people should destigmatize paying for porn, paying for movies, paying for apps on your phone. If it's $1 to $2,
Depends on your enjoyment, what you get out of it.
it depends on what you get out of it. What I don't like is subscription fees. There's this other app I have on my phone. I actually just deleted it a few days ago.
Let's get it, King.
This other app on my phone. It was called Corculus. It was like cork boards. I got it, and I wanted to build a cork board. Just bear with me. I know it sounds stupid. I wanted to
A
build
digital one or like in a physical?
digital one. See, if I bought a physical one, totally worth it.
Yeah.
$2
Like
for
the one I have.
Yeah, $2. How much is that? $10?
Yeah, around there. I don't remember. But
I'd
yeah.
pay $10 for a corkboard.
Yeah.
They wanted me to pay $7.99 monthly for an app that emulates a corkboard.
That's fucking stupid.
I can drag and drop pictures.
That's like the early days of like iPod touches where you had like iGun. Where you had all
or the beer drinking and the Zippo lighter. It's like fucking cool.
when you wanted a flashlight, it just turned your brightness all the way up.
I guess it's cool, yeah.
That's the fucking early days of iTouch and iPhone apps.
Yeah, totally.
That just kept being a thing. How did that app survive?
People never. Well, that's the thing is like you got to remember, the market of children is always vastly larger than the market of adults.
Pinterest is free. It's the same thing.
Explain.
No, I don't close my tabs. Unless
Hey,
it's porno.
thank you for the follow,
Amanda Z 430.
Amanda Z.
Pinterest is a virtual pin board. Basically, you have ideas and you pin them to.
Oh,
your
okay,
board.
gotcha.
It doesn't look
I
like.
think I still have it on my desktop actually because it downloads.
It doesn't look like a cork board or a fucking. What am I looking for?
Here it is.
A vision board. It doesn't look like that. That looks.
That's all it is. And I tried to do this whole thing for the American Factory. I was like ready, and I was like getting like theory. But guess what? Unless you subscribe, you can't have more items than this. I've got 4 pictures on a cork board.
That's so sad. Turn that around.
It's kind of dumb though.
It doesn't matter. This is what $7.99 is.
This is what $7.99 a month is worth.
A shitty PowerPoint slide, basically.
You get 4 pictures, and 2 uses of each tool. Is that good?
Yeah.
That's all you get.
That makes me so mad.
And I'll even show you because they've got to have the. Here, watch. I'll just try and drag something else on there. What's that sound? Do you hear that? Is that your phone?
I think that's Discord.
Oh.
Hello, gentlemen.
That was the
The
sneakiest.
return of the king,
The
man.
sneakiest way to join a show
That was
ever.
the dopest way to join a show. Fucking let's drink. That was.
What's going on, guys?
Oh man, that's the man, Plant Daddy. That's unmistakable. How's it going, bro?
Nothing much, man. I'm just hanging out. Just cracked myself a nice fresh beer, of course.
How's Sasha?
Can you turn them up?
Oh, she's doing good.
At least on our end.
Do me a favor, man. Just
That's just for me.
say
basically.
something.
Hold on. I gotta
Yes.
clip that reaction.
Oh, go for it, bro.
I was so confused. Just heard some buzzing, and I was like,
I thought it was like physically on the table here. Oh, I'm getting text messages from everyone now. Look. Okay, so look at this.
You need to pay more.
$199 monthly.
That's not bad.
$14.99 weekly.
See, I wouldn't.
Or $50 for a lifetime. But it's like
Okay, so I wouldn't
buy a real. No one's gonna need this for a lifetime.
No,
for $50. Not worth it.
I wouldn't mind paying $2 a month if I would use it every day.
Mm-hmm.
If
you use Photoshop every day, sure.
Yeah, like
get the Adobe package.
I pay $20 a month for every Adobe software ever through Creative Cloud. I use it. Mm-hmm. Granted, only like depends on when I do highlights, but like 2 days a week.
Yeah.
$10 a week, basically, or $10 a day. Every time we use it, $10.
Mm-hmm. But here's the
really, if we do it, how many weeks are in a month? 4. How many times do we do it? Twice. That's 8 times.
Like you said, cross benefit analysis, boy, you get it.
8 times
finish
divided by $20. Can't
160.
Can't do math.
2 times 8, add a 0.
Well, what's 8 divided by 20? 8, 20. 20 divided by 8.
40.
$2.50 every time we use it. That's not bad. That's not a lot of money.
Here's where I draw the line. How much does it cost? And at some point, do you eventually own it? Back.
Creative Cloud, no, you don't own it. You're just paying a monthly.
That's
service
bullshit.
fee.
I think after a certain, I think everything, if it is subscription based, should eventually be pay to own. I think there should be this threshold. After you pay that threshold, same thing with leasing a car. If you lease a car, you pay If you pay $10,000 in a year, and the car costs you and the car costs $20,000, you only have $10,000 left to pay that car off on.
Right, but I don't have like $700 willingly to just drop right now on fucking Adobe Premiere, and then an extra $700 on After Effects, and then an extra $700 on Media Encoder, and then an extra $700 on Photoshop, and then an extra $700 on Illustrator.
Sure, but it should be able to look at all your purchases, everything you've paid for, and be like, you know what? You paid. Is that you? What's down there? That's me. I'm an idiot.
Right, but companies like money. Just like
Fuyao
Glass America likes money, and they want bigger outputs, but stupid Americans have fat fingers and are slow.
Fuyao does love money. I'm sorry, Planned Out. Are you still here?
Yeah, he's there.
I'm here. I'm just being quiet. I'm listening.
Fuck yeah. Did you end up watching the documentary, bro?
So I've had a very busy couple weeks. I remember most of it. If you want to just roll into it. I've watched it a couple times, so I'm sure I'll be able to jump in,
All
I'll
right.
be able to jump in on topics and whatnot. But yeah, I think that was the gist of it. If you remember, the CEO of the company, he was just like, yeah, I'm going to go visit the factory. And he came and he's like, wow, these guys are slow. They want breaks. They want this. They want that. Mm-hmm. They're like, in China, we just work harder.
12-hour days.
Yeah, they're like, we just work harder. I'm like, yeah, because it's slave labor.
Something that I picked up on and I wrote down was that Chinese employees only have about 2 days off a month compared to the 8 days off in America, the weekends.
Yeah, and then they're like away from their families and shit.
For
like they never see their families
about 2 times a year.
Mm-hmm. What I wanted to bring up too, my first immediate shock is when the chairman Chow came in. He's like, you should move the
fire alarm.
The fire alarm.
They're like down here.
And everyone's like, no, like that's the law.
Dave, the former VP, was like, it has to be at that height. Like it's a legal requirement.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, just move it. And he's like, I'll check and see if we can move it, but I think it has to be there because it's legal. It's the law. And then Emperor Chow.
No, that works. Though. Emperor Chow.
I didn't mean to say that. That's fucked up. That's
Goddamn, man.
I know.
Chairman Chow. Chairman of the company. Chairman of Fuyao Glass.
Fuga. Emperor Chow. I'm sticking with it. I'm owning it. Emperor Chow was like, oh, well, you should take the time to design the building better, and then you can avoid your mistakes. And this guy was like, I didn't design this fucking building.
The building was already made.
Yeah, but it's like, I didn't design this fucking building.
It was an unoccupied plant before they came in. Mm-hmm. It was already there.
But he's like, you're the president, right? So you built this? Like, no. And then there's another place where there's like a workshop, there's like a garage facing. He's like, turn that around. He's like, oh, we just ordered a door for it, so like we'd have to move the door. And like, I get it. Like, if you're a billionaire, you can call shots like that sometimes, where you're like, do this, do that, whatever. Because $100,000 to get it changed is just $100,000 to get it changed. But what he didn't realize, what he was doing was breaking laws. Like, everything that was there was like regulation, like the yellow paint on those.
It's code.
Yeah. Everything, all the yellow paint on like the loading docks, that's there so you don't trip. You know, there's a reason for that. He's like, get rid of this, get rid of that, change this. And I'm like, yo, that's so crazy that you could just be like in China, like, this is our business. But it also kind of proves, like, when you think about it, he's a billionaire, right? But they don't have a capitalist system. So he has to be tight with government. He has to be tight with Chinese government.
Let's see. I wrote it down. Probably on my second page of notes.
Yeah, I got a bunch of notes I want to tackle, but
no, it was on the first one.
Shit like that is like when
I think one of the worst things though is that, like, you know, all the simplest things which we take for granted here in the United States, like we have OSHA, right? And they're there simply to make sure that people are safe, which a lot of people don't really understand. That they think that they're out to get them. They don't want to wear their safety vest. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do this. But realistically, OSHA was made for the people. OSHA was there so that the people had an extra voice backing them, saying,
keeping them safe.
You did everything right, and now the company wants to put the blame on you. Well, no. If this was an occupational safety hazard due to the fact that somebody in the company did something wrong, then you shouldn't be held accountable. And what's actually going to happen is now there's going to be a full-scale investigation as to why this occurred. And so, like, there's that kind of stuff that you just don't see in China. And that comes with an asterisk, because China does have a form of OSHA. It's very lax and it's very influenced by government. And now, obviously, when you have the Chinese elite, who are the government, well, basically what happens is what they say goes, and there's nobody else to challenge them.
Yeah.
So long as they do the bare minimum, then everything's all right, you know? So it's like little things like that we have here in the United States, and, you know, building code, which is so simple and yet so fundamental, and they just don't readily abide by basic safety and health standards, you know? And then they're, you know, in the documentary, he comes and he's like, oh man, these Americans, they're slow, they're lazy, and they don't want to work, blah, blah, blah. With their fat fingers, they don't want to work, blah, 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 whatever.
They should hire Trump with his little hands.
But, what's it called? But, you know, realistically, it's just something so simple that we take for granted here in the United States, which allows us to work comfortably to an extent, you know, comfortably as comfortable
safely
can be when you're working, and safely when you're working in a warehouse, you know, setting.
Yeah.
But OSHA also rules over everything that has to do with labor. So, and even if you're a private contractor, I think the law is that if you're a private contractor with more than, I believe it's like 3 employees, including yourself. So if you have more employees, or not including yourself if you're the owner, but if you have like 3 or more employees, or like 4 employees or more, then technically, if there is a workplace accident or anything else like that, OSHA can have a effect on you. Like, they can come in and shut you down.
They have the authority.
They have the authority. Yeah, they are an authority having jurisdiction over the labor laws that are being misused, you know, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I did write it down. I found it. The Fuya Workers Union and the Communist Party headquarters in China are basically in the same fucking building.
Really?
Yeah. At least that's what that's what the fucking the bottom quarter like
The fine print.
the fucking title was when like they were introducing his brother-in-law when they all went to China at the like halfway point in the movie. They were like, yeah, we couldn't really do this without the government. The government backs us a lot. And it said the Foya Workers Union, the Communist Party headquarters. Like, this is the building. This is us.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, I'm gonna just go in order of my notes, and we'll kind of go from there. But anyone feel free to speak about any time about anything, obviously.
Okay.
What I have written down is the Chinese chairman when he first comes in there and he's talking to the workers. He goes, "Remember, it's not about how much money you make," because the one woman was like, "I made $35."
Shania went from $29 an hour to $13 an hour.
Yeah,
it was
like,
$12.84.
I was gonna say like $30 to like $12.
That's from $60,000 a year to $27,000.
That's like a third.
Yeah.
Third for the same job.
Poor Shania.
But that was the first thing, the first fact. I was like, wow, that's fucking huge.
But also you have to take into account like it's a brand new company, like starting day one. Whereas if you're working,
but she has the experience.
Sure, but if you're working at GM, you have like those annual increases of what am I looking for?
Employee
salaries,
reviews?
yearly increases.
The reviews?
Yeah.
But, yearly salary increases.
But at the same time, she has
bonuses.
the experience to say, "I'm worth this much." You
She
know,
still accepted the job.
that's true.
That's on her.
She should have. I guess she should have negotiated. But the thing was that I want to talk about when.
Wait.
Oh.
Wait.
Okay.
Hold on. You just said the trigger word right there.
What'd I say?
Do you know what you said?
I don't.
Negotiate?
Negotiate.
Ah,
Was it?
right there. That's the trigger term right there. She should have negotiated.
Yeah.
Right? Now imagine a single worker going to a company or a manager and saying, "Hey, I have all this experience, blah, blah, blah. I deserve more money." Guess what happens?
You're not getting that
They get
job,
shit on.
or you're fired.
Yeah.
They get shit on and fired. Or they just say, "Ha, ha, ha, get back to work." Right?
Yeah.
Now think about this. And this is where we learn this coming from my side as being a union worker. Myself as a person, I don't need to say, "Well, I have 10 years experience. I deserve to make this much." No. Through collective bargaining, my union speaks on behalf of the labor force, who we are as people in an entirety, and says, well, if we have 3,000, 4,000 journeymen, and we'll say journeyman as a blanket term because you have journeyman, journeywoman, and journey persons.
Sure.
Now, we'll just say journeyman because it rolls off the tongue. We'll just make it very fluid.
Yes.
Totally.
If we have our unions here speaking on behalf of the workforce, our labor force, saying that X amount of people, journeymen, that have had X, Y, and Z experience, they deserve X, Y, and Z dollars. And so rather than one person having to say, well, I have 15 years experience, why am I still making, bottom dollar? No. That's not how we do it in unions. With the union, through collective bargaining, it's, one band, one sound. We all
I like that.
work together and say, hey, we deserve to be paid this, and this, and we deserve to have this, and this safety standard because we have learned this. This is our trade, or this is our work. And this goes along with, it doesn't matter if you're a factory worker, it doesn't matter if you're an electrician, it doesn't matter if you're a laborer, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher. Now, if we want to look at teachers, their union isn't that strong, and it's not that strong in the same capacity that the International Association of Firefighters, that union, just isn't that strong. But that's because of the fact that they just haven't had that brotherhood instilled in them. They don't have that. They're thinking, oh, it's just money. Well, no, it's not just money. It's about everybody
It's principle.
banding together. It's about remember the teacher strikes? Like, that was a big fear for a lot of people. Do you remember the writing strikes that were pulling shows off of the TVs? Like, it's a big thing when a lot of people stand up and say, yeah, we're not going to get treated like this. and we're not going to do anything until we're treated better. That's where unions come in, and that's where our strength in numbers and strength in unity actually spawns from. And so when you have Shania, a factory worker with over 15 years experience, going to, you know, the manager and saying, hey, I have this experience, I probably know more than you, which some capacities during the documentary, they literally said it, that there was somebody new that didn't have any experience, but he was the manager, and there was people that were working that had, you know, 10 years over on him and still could run the factory just the same
because he was Chinese.
Because he spoke Chinese.
Exactly. And he couldn't even exactly. He could barely speak English, for one, but for two, I mean, this is where this argument, whether, you know, unions are good or unions are bad, this is where this comes from. And unfortunately, these factory workers are never going to see the brighter side of what collective bargaining and labor rights really means.
Yeah, and I like what you kind of pointed out there, like in a bigger, broader spectrum. Like, a union is really people banding together, which is like kind of the most American thing you can do, to be like, yo, hey, I worked 15 years and I deserve this much pay. So my friend Josh here worked 10 years. He should earn at least this much pay. And being able to have that voice is super powerful. And then they were able to scare the majority of their workers into not voting.
It was a solid 60% said no.
Into not voting for the union, which blew my mind, because it showed me how misinformed people are about unions and work safety.
The chairman himself said, and I quote, a direct quotation from the documentary, "If a union comes in, I'm shutting this down."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Think about that.
He would have gone back to China with his balls in his hand.
Yeah.
Imagine that. He said, if we were to unionize, I would shut the factory down. How terrifying is that for you, the person who's trying to feed their children, saying, oh man, if I'm gonna choose union, I'm gonna lose my job.
Not to
imagine
mention,
being stuck between that rock and hard place. I'm either feeding my kids or we're losing everything that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention,
and
all
that's
the people,
that strong arm tactic. Go ahead.
All the people that supported the union that eventually got fired because they supported wanting to unionize.
Ghost Hand has a great point right now. He said, people are conditioned by corporate propaganda into thinking unions are evil. This goes all the way back to the Red Scare.
Because the corporations literally pay people to be like, the union's bad. Don't do this.
Because most importantly, corporations have expendable money to remind people, hey, unions are bad.
They literally had the segment.
They have a propaganda budget.
They had the segment in the documentary where it was like, it was a black screen or like recorded by a Fuyao employee.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you to do whatever you want.
They're like, are they paying you?
But
and I was like,
you
yes,
will,
they are paying.
But you will be fired
like,
if you vote yes.
But the underlying thing about that Ghost Hand brings up is, and I'm going to quote him again, people were conditioned by corporate propaganda into thinking unions are evil, which goes back to the Red Scare, absolutely. But people were conditioned by corporate propaganda. That means that these companies were actually so fearful of these people going union that they actually had to spend hundreds of thousands on propaganda and advertisements and pamphlets, which they handed out. They handed out anti-union pamphlets to the workers that they had to go to that far of a length in order to scare them, one, to strong arm them, two, and to belittle them. Now, that's just the propaganda side. We haven't even scratched the side of the fact that a company actually had a U.S. Postal Service drop box dropped in front of the factory. And so basically what happened was people saw that the U.S. Postal Service had an official drop box there. And guess what happened? What they thought they were voting on for pro-union,
I heard that.
they were dropping it into this drop box that ended up going nowhere.
Yeah, to the trash.
It went nowhere. That bin ended up having everything in it basically sorted. Everything that was pro-union was removed and dumped into the trash. Everything that was against it was then taken back and then submitted. Think about that. That's how hard they pushed for them to not be union, is that they actually called the U.S. Postal Service, paid for an official drop box to be dropped so that they could go pick out the ones that they wanted and literally throw away the rest that they didn't. And people were so misinformed that they saw an official drop box from the U.S. Postal Service. They thought, oh, this has to be legit. This is the U.S. Postal Service. They paid for that to be there. They had the keys to it. And they opened it up and they literally discarded anything that was pro-union and kept everything that wasn't. Anybody that said, no, I don't want to go union, all those ballots got counted. You want to talk about fraud in the mail-in ballot system, dude? Let's talk about it on a simpler form.
Yeah,
let's talk about it on a simpler form, dude. This is exactly the same propaganda and issues that we saw in the presidency that wasn't officiated, that nobody could actually prove was actually going on. But the concept is there, and it's
but it could easily be replicated.
And it's eerily, exactly, it's scarily and eerily very similar to that same concept of, well, these tickets weren't counted, but these were, and that's where we as a nation have to really, if we're going back to that topic, like we were talking about last time, where, the U.S. needs some ballot, what's it called? We need to re-up our ballot system and everything else, which, I do agree. But it's something as simple as voting pro-union and not union, but not giving the workers enough information to know, hey, if you drop this here, it's getting thrown in the garbage. Your voice isn't going to be heard. Yikes. Big yikes.
And my main takeaway from that is like how crazy is it that it's still the same thing that we've already known, is like that the few will always fear the many, and the many are the people. The many are like the 99%, the 98%, and the 1% still has enough money to manipulate and control the 99% with fake ballot drop boxes and paying $1 million to a company to hand out pamphlets about unionization
and just propaganda in it.
It's literally the same thing. It's like divide and conquer. No one? Okay.
Pretty much. No, you're absolutely right. That's exactly the concept. Is you divide the people, you separate them so they can't band together, and then their voice becomes a lot smaller.
That's what that means.
That's divide and conquer. That's rule number 1. Sun Tzu.
The art of war.
The art of war. It's literally one of the first things. If the person's army has 100,000 units and you have 50,000 units, find a way to divide their army into 25,000 units. So at any time you can go conquer 25,000 units with your 50,000 units.
I thought it was about dividing what you have.
Yes!
Ghost hands!
Ghost hands here! Ghost hands in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Ghost hand was sick of it. Ghost hand was like, you know what? I'm jumping in.
He's like, they're not reading enough of my messages. I was trying my best, man, but I'm glad you're here.
He's like, Ghost hand's like, I got something to say.
Yeah. Let us have it.
Let it rip, Ghost.
Just make a small interjection here regarding unions here in Brazil, just to give my peace of mind. There's a thing that it doesn't get much talked about. I think it's one of the big problems regarding how people view unions in general, but here in Brazil is a specific problem. Here in Brazil, we have a small problem of unions being incredibly corrupt. You do have the aspect of unions here in Brazil that is very important, that started much with the work done in the 50s and 60s by our President Getúlio Vargas, who was one of the first guys to actually attempt to improve a little bit of the working condition of the general populace. There's a little problem. My family owns a small business. We have a small jewelry store, 2 small stands of jewelry, and we had 2 people who work with us that are outside of the family. It's a small family-owned business. And one of the problems that you actually have to address is that unions are actually relatively not dangerous, but they are relative depending on who you work with and depending of the context that you are, they are a little troublesome for small business. They are really good for big business in regards to actually allowing for a majority of the people to have a say in terms of salary, in terms of working conditions, in terms of work hours, in terms of everything.
And insurance.
And insurance. But if you work with, like, for example, 2, 3, up until 12 people, it's very hard because the amount of contribution that you have to give as a business owner to unions is so high to the point that it doesn't benefit you so much. Of course, for example, we have two workers with us. We treat them very well. We pay every single benefit. We work with the unions that work alongside them. But for the most part, the amount of money, the amount of benefits, the amount of everything that we spend on them as small business owners, it's so high that it's legitimately detrimental to the small business, to not the survival. We are relatively well. We can survive without that much of a hassle. But just to give you a little bit of a little bit of perspective of how a majority of for example, the United States sees unions. You have all this corporate propaganda. You have all this governmental propaganda that actually tries to dismantle unions because it's detrimental to the profit of these great, these big institutions and these big corporations. But there's very too little no addressing of how this affect the small producer, the small business owner. And a lot of these business owners are the guys that criticize these unions. Because you have a majority of the population works as employees generally, but the people that generally come the point across, manage to get their voice a little bit heard, are people who have a little bit more of the importance in this societal aspect, that are mainly business owners. Small or medium size, and these guys come there and say, look, unions are not good for me. And it's a valid complaint because for many smaller scale owners, it's generally detrimental for them. So that's a big aspect that needs to be addressed when we have the discussion. Unions are good. Yes, they are good. Unions should exist, absolutely. Big corporations should 100% work with unions to make the life of employees better in terms of salary, in terms of work hours, in terms of benefits, in terms of insurance, in terms of job security. Not only for example, in Brazil, not in Brazil, but in general sense, medical I said that in the comment, but medical professions benefited a lot from not only unions but governmental institutions actually enforcing stuff like self-protection, stuff like minimum work conditions, actually fiscalizing, actually analyzing and taking care of the work environment. For example, we have people that are responsible to actually go into your workplace and see if everything is done correctly. Look, you're using the proper clothes, the proper protection equipment. Is your environment clean? Are you doing this right? Are you working with the rest of the people working in your clinic? And that's a huge thing. But as again, just to retake a little bit of the point, this it needs to be a separate conversation about how this affect medium-sized to small business owners, because these medium-sized to small business owners are some of the guys that are actually heard when those complaints are made. When people complain, mostly are these people who had value criticism to these unions. But just to give you a sense. But what we are mostly talking here is about big corporations. And big corporations are soulless evil. We all know this.
Yes.
And this 100% needs to exist for big corporations. But I think that it should be governmental talk And union talk to say, look, we're gonna work this way for big companies, but we're gonna work a different way for smaller companies. For example, we're gonna require a smaller contribution. You're gonna be a little more lax in terms of work hours, in terms of work benefits. We are gonna make sure that your employees are not being literal slaves, but you are gonna have a little bit more wiggle room to actually work directly with your employees, because it's much more easy. You have 12 employees. It's much more easier to sit down with these employees and say, look, how things going? How can I benefit you? How can we work this out? Because you don't actually want a good worker to go away. You don't want someone that you actually met at a personal level and have conversations every single day. It's much more easy to actually keep an eye on these people and see, look, this is a good guy, this is a good guy, this is a good guy. I want this guy keeping working for me. Oh, this guy's a good worker. This guy's working for me. This guy's having problems talking to me about leaving. Let's have a talk. What can I do for you? Which is a thing that cannot be done in large scale. In terms of employee, you have human resource departments, but human resource departments don't work in your benefit. You work in benefit of the company. They exist They exist as a barrier, a shield, so the company can say, "Look, we're doing things for our workers," but they are actually not doing jack shit for them.
Well,
Yeah.
Can I interject on that though?
Please do.
Yeah. So, and now, I wholeheartedly agree with 99% of what you said. Unions were not made for small businesses. Hello?
We hear you.
Yeah, you're there.
So yes,
Okay.
sure,
Sorry.
we
I
do.
just had some weird feedback in my ear. Unions were not inherently made for small businesses, and for exactly the reason that you expressed, Ghost Hand. The amount that people would be looking to make from a union, from a union rate, small businesses could not. They
Afford
just
it.
could not afford it. They could not afford it, which is exactly what Ghost Hand said, and which is exactly what is the truth. That is the bottom line truth. Unions were made for big corporations to be able to manage a large workforce and have a level playing field for all their workers at set specific intervals in their own careers. We're not talking about, the first 5 years, which is, like for me, the first 5 years is your apprenticeship. And then you have to work X amount of years. And once you're done with your apprenticeship, you're considered an A journeyman. And then you have X amount of years before you can retire and blah, blah, blah. But also, something that you were expressing was the fact that, that could be detrimental. And I wholeheartedly agree. And one thing that you were saying was, you said one of your past leaders actually started to kind of
If you
on
guys
behalf
wanna,
of unions, right?
if you guys want, not exactly unions, if you guys want a good read, look up Getúlio Vargas. He was one of the first Brazilian president to actually invest heavily in industry, in native production, in forming native industries.
You said that was back in the 50s, right?
40s to 50s, in the 40s, 50s.
40s to 50s.
And
And-
just a little interjection before you continue.
Yep.
This guy was a dictator. Was one of the first guys to actually start that dictatorial period. But he is regarded today as the father of workers' rights, because he saw in his time, especially during the period of World War II, we have no industry. Before this guy, we didn't have a Ministry of Education. We didn't have a public education. This was the guy who actually started public education. This was actually the guy who started the metallurgy industry in Brazil. This is the guy who actually started. If this guy didn't exist, Brazil wouldn't have industry. Wouldn't have a sense of workforce. Wouldn't have workers' rights. Wouldn't have nothing. And unintentionally, he actually created a huge problem. Well intentionally, but in Brazil, I don't know if this is like in the US, but the law exists to benefit the employee. The company, as big or small it is, there's no distinction. The employee is always in the right in terms of suing, in terms of
Whistleblowing.
whistleblowing, stuff like that. The employee is always in the right, and that creates a huge problem for smaller companies. For big companies, it's actually really good because at the time there was only big companies. You didn't have small scale industry in Brazil. You had to use small, very 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 small, like the little bazaar store. But it didn't have actually condensed small industries like metal production, like large scale, like medium to small scale production and transport and stuff like that. So it is a product of its time, and that's a huge problem not only in Brazil but in the world at all, in the world in general. A lot of workers' laws, a lot of laws regarding companies, regarding workers' rights, regarding in Europe, Western Europe, this is a little bit more mitigated, but in general, a lot of these laws fall under the being a product of their time and not changing. They need to change. They need a revision.
If I may say something right here, I think an important point might be the laws. In America, we have a shitload of lawyers, right?
Too many.
Too many goddamn lawyers. And the reason it's a popular job is because, one, it pays, and two, you can basically always find a workaround of a law. And to me, it sounds like there's a lot of people, lawyers in the case of what you're speaking on for Brazil, people taking advantage of the laws in place.
We have a shitload of these lawyers here as well. They're everywhere.
And that's exactly what it sounds like to me. It sounds like a lot of lawyers who are like, I can get a quick payday by harpooning this. I can get a quick payday by harpooning this small business of this jewelry store, this steel factory, this whatever. I can get a quick payday from that because the laws allow unions. And even that needs to be checked, right? So I know it sounds really weird, but spitballing ideas, there needs to be some sort of lawyer firm or law firm that is against lawyers who practice poor ethics. Because it sounds like, at face value anyway, that's what's going on. We have that in America, but he's talking about Brazil.
Yes.
That actually exists here in Brazil. We do have an ethics council for
corruption. Corruption sounds like the biggest thing.
It just doesn't work. It's really hard because being a lawyer, law in general is there's a lot of wiggle room. Especially here in Brazil, because a lot of it is left vague, especially a lot of this heritage that we have from the 40s and 50s, because it's where the workers' rights movement and workers' rights in general were coined. We are still have a lot of that remnant in today's environment, and nobody does nothing. Nobody does nothing regarding that. Why? Because you have a huge problem with unions not wanting to change that. We have a huge problem with companies not wanting to change that because benefits, at the same time that it benefits unions, it benefits big corporations. It doesn't work for anyone. The ones who actually suffer more with this, it's the middle and small scale, because big companies are able to wiggle away with their lawyers, and the unions actually get the advantage of being benefited by that, of the government actually allowing, look, the unions and the workers are gonna have the benefit of the doubt. In every single case, they are gonna be allowed every single bit of chance they have to prove that they are right, and then they are in the right, and they are doing what they are doing, supposed to be doing. And the guys who actually get, pardon my expression, fucked in the ass are the medium to small size producers.
That's a great expression.
Owners, business owners.
Definitely. And just the last thing that I wanted to add into, just everything that Ghost was saying, and let you guys get back to the rest of the topics and whatnot, is that
man, I'm in no rush, just so you guys know. So speak openly.
Yeah, for sure. But Ghost Hand, and one thing that I wanted, like the reason why I brought back, I was like, oh, you said in the 40s and 50s, is that what sounds like was happening there in Brazil was, if they were paying any sort of attention to the United States, they would have known that there was a huge unionization boom during those times, during the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and up until like the mid 70s. the unions were at their strongest here. There was the most unionization here in the United States.
Yeah.
There was also the least amount of wage gap here in the United States during that era. Actually,
Better
so there was
times.
more people in the middle class,
Oh,
i.e.,
back.
there was the margin for, like, if you were poor, if you were considered poor back then you were just
Middle
out
class.
on the street. Like, you were just, no, if you were poor,
Oh.
if you were poor, you were poor.
Yeah.
If you weren't poor and you had any kind of roof over your head, you were in the middle class automatically. You were in the
Yes,
working
sir.
class.
Damn.
There was no real top 1%ers during that time. There wasn't. There were some old families with some old money at that time, sure, but those weren't the top 1%ers of the. They were the top 1%ers of the age, but they didn't have the kind of influence that the top 1%ers have nowadays, where the wage gap disparity is so much. Actually, what's it called? When you look at what happened was Reaganomics in the 80s.
Fuck Ronald Reagan.
I love
If
that.
you guys,
Fuck Ronald Reagan. Fuck him.
I'm glad you guys understand where I'm coming from. So during
I
the
love
most
that.
prosperous times, during the most prosperous
Ronald
times here in the
Reagan.
United States, it was during the height
Did you guys
of
feel that?
unionization. Dude, I felt that. I felt the energy, dude. I did, dude. During the height of the United States prosperity,
So
it was
good.
also the highest. It was the highest percentage of Americans that were unionized. The workforce was unionized, and the United States was booming, absolutely booming. Then Reagan came along with his anti-union propaganda
And the war on drugs.
You literally see a decline so sharp.
Incredible, destructive foreign policy.
Yes.
And
Oh
shipping
my
crap
goodness.
to black neighboods.
Dude, you
And doing
have no
illegal
idea. You
stuff.
have to see. You have to see the graphs,
And I
though,
like fully
to
bringing
really
for the CIA.
understand. You got to see the graphs to really understand what Reaganomics did to the workforce here in the United States. You want to talk about disparity? You want to talk about wage gap? You want to talk about the 1%? The 1% today that we know it is directly correlated with Reaganomics during his reign here in the United States.
I got
And
6 ways you didn't
Go-
realize Ronald Reagan ruined the country.
Yeah, and Ghost Hand, during the time of that dictatorship, yes, it was a dictatorship, but it was a dictator for the workforce. He was, I would venture to say that he was looking over at the United States and realized how prosperous the United States was during this economic boom, and how there was such a high unionization number. He probably saw that and said, if they can do it, why can't I do it for my own country? And that's something that has shaped your country now today too, as you're here talking about it, but also the fact that it shaped our country for the better, and yet Reagan came in and put, however many dollars into Reaganomics and busting
still
unions.
fucking us up.
And it's still fucking us here today. And that ushered in the era of big corporation and money hoarding.
Just a small addendum. It did not only fuck the United States in terms of economic policies for the working class. He intentionally and unintentionally fucked the United States in terms of debt, in terms of starting the war on terror. That would have huge costs, not only in terms of governmental spending, in terms of governmental agency using. He allowed for the seeds for the war on terror to start, the foreign policies of interference, of establishing coups in South America. Hey, we have some of our own. We have some coups here in Brazil that had direct correlation with some of the policies that Reagan took. But he essentially created the perfect condition, but so not only the workforce would be completely destroyed, and by workforce I mean the small and the low to middle class to actually be completely destroyed. But he also allowed to the rising of the debt of the United States in terms of war profit, in terms of, because you cannot actually call war profiting because you actually spend so much money on foreign interference, on burning bridges with your allies, on indebting yourself with the war on drugs and destroy a completely legitimate business and giving free way for the CIA to do whatever they wanted, it basically destroyed the country. And not only that, the Ronald Reagan allowed the CIA to become its own institution, free of any strings for the government, for the United States government.
Its own entity.
Should they have a blank check and free letter to do whatever they want, not only in terms of spying on their own citizen, not in terms of cracking down on their own populace. Not only in terms of developing and sending drugs to poor neighborhoods to actually justify their existence. Reagan is literally Satan. He is literally Satan.
That
and
shit. Preach that shit, son. Preach that shit, son.
I'm not making any. I'm not exaggerating.
Stay woke.
I'm genuinely saying from the bottom of my heart, that man is the devil.
You know what the sad? You know what the sad thing though? You know what the sad thing though? Alec, Josh, like, guys, this is a man that understands what happened here in the United States without
being here,
without ever living here, without ever.
No, that hits me. That hits me much harder. I'm feeling it.
Beautiful.
This man is so educated on our own presidency that even our own United States citizens don't understand.
Most of them wouldn't say the same shit because they don't know.
They don't know. They would, like, maybe they would say it if they knew, but they don't. That's the crazy part.
We have Flex Tape in the chat saying they never mentioned this because we have the Ronald Reagan Library out here right next to us.
It's actually really close to us.
They never mentioned this during the Ronald Reagan Library field trip. And of course they're not going to fucking do that because it's his fucking library.
That's like saying fucking the Columbus discovered America.
He literally fucking buried him and Nancy over by a fucking library.
Oh my god.
And it's hilarious. It's hilarious because not for nothing, shout out to Flex Tape for joining in on a little bit of that and actually just making that simple statement. Man, they never mentioned this during the Ronald Reagan Library field trip. But okay. And that's exactly the point.
That's exactly it. That's propaganda.
This is literally history. That's written in today's world. And nobody understands the policies. Nobody understands why we do what we do now. He's like, we were in 5th grade though. True. But there's nothing stopping you from understanding true economics once you get to the collegiate, era. Or there's nothing stopping you from simply going on YouTube these days. Going to YouTube these days, you can find out this information. But Flex Tape's hearing it from us here now. If we're not saying it, who else will? And nobody's pushing the
we will corrupt
ideology.
The
youth. It's nobody's pushing that ideology to and I don't know how old Flex Tape is.
All we're talking about is the truth.
There's other options. There's nobody to tell him that there's another option for him to actually go and get that information on his own.
He will.
Yeah. Ronald Reagan. By the way, Ronald Reagan was responsible for the AIDS epidemic.
He didn't give a fuck about AIDS.
Yes. Nobody's telling anybody this stuff, man. You got to find this out on your own. And not for nothing, the only reason why I found this out was because my father was a part of a union growing up, and so learning and understanding not only what I'm learning in school, but also understanding how it directly affects my family and my being able to eat, because my father's working every single day, sometimes 8, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, putting a roof over our head. But also the union had his back. We went on vacations. He had slotted time. You get 2 weeks for your first 5 years. You get a week for every 10 years. So you did, you're doing, or every 5 years you get like an extra week. So you did 15 years, great. Now you got 5 weeks of vacation time that you're allowed to use each year. So as you put your time in, you get perks for that. All right, so you did, now you're in 10 years, great. We'll give you another week. So now you got 3 weeks of vacation every year. Boom, you did another 5 years, great. So that's now 15 years, you get another week. So now you got a month worth of vacation time, and so on and so forth. And these are the little things that unless you live this life, like this was my life. This is how I live my life. People will never know. And that's the beauty of unions, but that's the disgrace of the United States of not allowing this information to everyone else.
And not only that,
Drops mic.
let me just make a little addendum here.
Go.
Since we're shitting on Reagan, justifiably so,
Yeah, buddy.
because you don't get enough options to actually shit on Reagan. Two things. First, he was actually one of the first presidents to actually incentivize the concentration of corporate power. What do I mean by that? I mean by that allowing corporations to grow and to grow and to grow and to become their own entities. The fact that
And lessen taxes.
the fact that
On them.
Disney today owns almost half of every single intellectual property created in the United States is because of people like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan started the whole idea of let's give corporations free reign to do whatever they want. He was the first guy to actually oppose more vehemently, with more effort, the antitrust laws, the laws again regarding the corporation buyouts and corporation growth. I swear to God, I promise that this Wednesday, the next podcast or the next podcast after that one, I'm gonna draw a picture of Teddy Roosevelt beating the shit out of Ronald Reagan.
Do it.
Because Teddy
you go.
Roosevelt.
There you go.
Teddy Roosevelt would literally beat the shit out of Ronald Reagan for the fact until his death. Because he wasn't
Teddy Roosevelt would have beat the shit out of most presidents. Let's be real here.
The
You
best one.
fucking ruined my country. You fucking
Yeah.
ruined my country. What have you done with my beautiful country? And second one. This is important. Before
Shit.
anything else,
Shit.
Ronald Reagan was an actor. The guy lived his entire
Yeah.
presidency as an actor. He
That is
was
true.
acting the entire time. That's why I actually draw a lot of comparisons between Reagan and Trump. They are two popular media celebrities. They both come from money. They both had their fortunes. They both base their entire most of their policies regarding economy about maintaining political structures, maintaining corporations, maintaining big business, attempting to deal with foreign powers. And it's a cycle. It's a cycle. Every 20 to 30 years, you get another Reagan. Another Reagan is allowed to rise to power. Why? Because he is a good personality. Reagan, before anything,
They do it because it worked before.
It worked. It's not a question of work before. It's a question of some of this. The problem with the policies that Reagan instigated is that they work for about a year maximum, and then the shit starts to go down, and everything starts to screw over the majority of the population. That is the middle and the lower class. Another thing that Reagan started was the exclusion of the middle class. The fact that you don't have, you're barely gonna have a middle class in 20 to 30 years. There's not gonna be a middle class. There's gonna be the ultra rich and the ultra poor. There's not gonna be middle ground, and that started with Reaganomics. Trickle down economics don't work. Actually, they work. They work really well for rich people, and not for the slightly rich people. I'm talking about people who have billions of dollars, who have trillions in the future.
The rich and educated will always
Rich and educated.
try to take advantage of the poor and less educated.
Hi, I'm educated.
I'm less educated.
I have
I'm educated.
I have an economics degree. That's fake.
So whoever
yeah.
gave it to you was not educated enough to know the difference.
Community college district.
Alec, you all right there, dude? You look like you're struggling with some gas there. You good?
Yeah, I was
You all right,
super burpy. I just took a piss, and the IPS made me super burpy. But I'm great.
Also, Reagan tripled our national debt
Did he
Yes.
from 1 trillion to 2.9 trillion. So
I mean, this conversation, like the
really? It goes down a rabbit hole. And I was
Childhood
gonna
obesity.
say,
it really does.
I was gonna say,
It really does.
I wanted to touch on Reagan on another topic because I feel like, as engaging as this is, I feel like we're still getting a little off topic from the American factory reason where we're here today.
fuck China.
So I want to say I will do some research on some Reagan facts, and we'll do that another day. but I think we should stay a little more focused on getting the documentary out of the way, because there's been a few instances where we do something and we don't quite do it. A poll means it's like a few sips, like a few seconds.
It's a longer sip.
I did a longer
go.
sip.
All right, so I want to see the notes. You guys have more notes.
Josh, would you like to start
I got
that
2
off?
pages. I did it school style. I went from like start the movie and start fucking writing down shit you see. When the GM plant closed in Dayton, Ohio, outside of Dayton, it's the same shit. It's a suburb.
We're gonna say Dayton.
It's in Dayton. Jobs were lost. 10,000 plus jobs. In 2010, Chinese companies began investing in U.S. manufacturing. Fuyao occupied the GM plant. There was one part when they were eating lunch, and the guy's like, "Now you're in America." He was talking in Chinese to all the Chinese company employees. It's like, your personality can run free. You can even make jokes about the president.
And we won't throw you in jail for it.
And I thought that was fucking hilarious.
How crazy is that to be in a country? Imagine being anywhere in the world, and they're like, you can talk shit about the government. Like, imagine being in Russia, and they're like, just so you know, all political oppositions get killed and go missing. But in America, we have to let you say the shit you say.
You can make jokes. It's
You
okay.
can do whatever you want.
It's in the eyes of the United States, it is your God-given right to be able to speak your, speak. Period.
And how crazy is it that other countries in the world still don't have that inalienable right to speak their mind?
Tiananmen Square, Tiananmen Square, Tiananmen Square.
Free Hong Kong. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all good.
We don't have Chinese chills on this podcast.
No,
No,
that's the
we're
thing.
fucking probably banned in
We're-
China
we're
because
already-
I keep saying Tiananmen Square, Tiananmen Square, Tiananmen Square.
We're already blocked in China and North Korea,
North Korea for sure, and Syria.
and Syria.
I wonder
They
if
can't get our
Kim
podcast.
Jong-un- I wonder if Kim Jong-un actually watches this podcast. He's watching
How
right now.
fucking
and
hilarious
saying,
would that be if he's like, hey, Kim Jong-un, the military advisor, is like, Russia's got nukes in Cuba, U.S. has nukes in Iraq, and there's the Two Dudes Drinking Beer podcast. We need to watch out for all 3 of these things.
We could do like the
Imagine.
fucking movie, The Interview, and have him on the show. Except we don't want to kill him. We just want to have him on the show.
We just want to talk.
But
bro.
imagine he's watching, and all of a sudden, like we're like, oh fuck Reagan. And he's like, yo guys, write that down.
Dude, if Kim Jong-un came on the show and was like, I want to say fuck Reagan, I would support that. I would let him talk all the shit he wants to about American government.
I would stop
ever.
podcasting after that. We made it.
We did it.
That's the peak.
We did it.
did
Kim
it.
Jong-un
You-
picks up
you made
his
it.
phone and he's like, hey Xi Jinping. They're talking shit about us again.
Oh my god, if him and Xi
Those
Jinping
assholes.
got on the phone together the same way I got on the phone with Rogue Brewing Company.
We have the fucking dictator of North Korea and the president of the fucking China on the
the
show
podcast.
at the same time.
At the same damn time. Oh my
We'll
god.
all be wearing red.
I'd do it. Look, honestly,
My goodness. No, we all wear black. We keep it null. We keep it civil.
we keep it neutral.
I'll wear red.
We keep it neutral.
support
He's like, I'll shave my head and then like, I'll just spray paint it red.
I'll look like a war criminal.
Awesome. Yeah, you shave it and just like.
I'll look like a fucking POW.
Oh my
They're gonna be
god.
like, we like this guy. He looks so familiar. Where do we know him from? We're
We
like,
hate-
oh well, we had 30,000 of them in our prison system about last week.
We hated Two Dudes Drinking Beer podcast till we sat down and had a beer with them. That's all I want.
Yeah, you got to get to know us.
You gotta give us a shot, bro.
Dude, I want War the Leaders podcast. I want fucking Putin to
The
come on the
war
podcast
leaders.
and talk.
The war leaders.
Oh my god, if
podcast.
Putin came on the podcast, I would die. I'd be like, hello,
we
sir.
would get
how
alcohol
are you?"
poisoning.
Imagine that, bro. But think
We
about
get
it.
other
Think about
kinds
it.
of
Literally,
poisoning.
the only chief import for all these countries is now going to be Rogue beer. Oh my
Fuck
lord!
yeah. Hey, it's like it went from
Hashtag ad.
Cuban cigars to like I can't find Rogue beer anywhere, dude. I can't find it
Yeah, but
anywhere because it's American
why? Because-
sponsored.
Why? Because it's getting shipped to China. It's getting shipped to North Korea, and it's getting shipped to Russia. Wait, what? They'd be like,
Partnership
yeah,
with the
we're
sensory.
hashtag sponsored by Russia, China, and North Korea.
It'd be so fucking hilarious.
Dream person to have on the podcast, any of these 3 leaders.
Yeah, dude.
Obama.
Apparently, Oh my
These
God.
3 communist leaders and Obama.
These 3 communist leaders.
Oh, yeah,
And
but it's got to
Obama.
be at the same time. It's got to be at the same time. And
Oh
we
my
need
God.
to sit down and have a
Putin,
serious
a world
conversation.
summit.
Jinping,
Like-
Un, and Obama.
I just want Alec to sit down in his chair, crack a beer, and be like, all right, guys,
All right, bro.
what the fuck?
Go.
Like, that's it. All right, guys, what the fuck?
so Reaganomics, am I right?
You're getting shot.
Oh, dude, we're not gonna live.
Man.
We're not gonna
Oh,
live
no, it'd be
48
on
hours
Zoom.
past that
Dude,
podcast.
dude,
It would have to be on Zoom.
Dude,
It'd have to be live.
That's the last
in front of
show.
a live studio audience, just to be completely sure.
Putting his ex-KGB, the guy would break your neck with his bare hands.
Yeah.
But how badass is that? Like,
It's a very
if an
scary
American
mother effer.
if an American president was like ex-CIA, I'd be like, okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
do you, dude? He's still got like a six
That
pack
would make
and
more
shit.
sense to me.
It would, right? It'd be like, yeah, of course this guy wants the country to succeed. He is the embodiment of the country.
But generals
And the
don't
security
usually
of the
become
people.
president.
And the security of the people. Yeah, but generals don't usually run for
The last
president.
general was like probably Ulysses S. Grant.
I was gonna say Grant. But that's just because we had what's his name? McCain?
John McCain, the POW
Okay.
from
Yeah.
Vietnam.
But he was just
He almost won.
he
He,
was ju-
ran against Obama the first time.
But he was just a war prisoner, right?
He was a veteran.
Veteran, yeah. But not generals anymore. They're
He was
too
the United States Senator for Arizona.
Yeah. All right. So
Technically, just for reference, technically, if you want to consider it, George W. Bush was the last president that worked for the U.S. military. Now, he was, I think, a
Bush
National
Senior?
Guardsman. No,
Junior.
yeah,
9/11
George
Bush.
W. Bush.
Really?
Yeah.
If you guys are interested in figures in people that work with military intelligence, they are within attempting to be within the U.S. government. Look up Daniel Reed Crenshaw. Just look at it, dude. I'm not gonna say nothing. Just look up this dude.
yo,
Look at
shout
this guy.
out.
Tell me he's an X something.
Oh, the guy with the eye patch.
Yeah. Shout out to Ghost Hand for knowing fucking everything about the United States, man. You are by far the most well-spoken. Oh, you're not typing.
Shit, I'm on the wrong keyboard.
You're by far the most well-spoken, smartest doctor I've ever had the pleasure of talking to.
Orthodontist.
I say doctor. You're a doctor.
A
Still a
DDS.
doctor.
Yeah,
DDS.
you're a doctor.
This guy, the guy with the eye patch.
Okay, Slade, you're not fooling anybody.
Look at this dude.
Look at
Tell me
this
This
dude.
guy was a secret agent.
Look at this dude. Look at this
Dude.
dude. He looks scariest. He looks scariest in that picture. Eye patch, an American flag, freaking mask, with
This guy's
showing nothing
playing it
but
off.
the patch and his
Playing
forehead.
it off so
Love
hard.
it.
He's playing it off so hard.
Could you imagine living
He
in
knows
Russia?
that that
Could you
patch is
imagine
getting
living in
votes.
Russia and being like, this motherfucker has an eye patch and he's in politics? That's a little bit scary, dude. If Putin had an eye patch, I'd be like, what the fuck did he do? And what the fuck did he survive to have an eye patch and become the fucking prime minister of that
I
country?
lost my eye to a rusty spoon. It happens.
In a fucking,
What,
in a
dude?
fucking
Like, get away
chemical,
from
in a fucking
6
chemical
feet, dude.
attack.
me. 6 feet, bro. Back up.
6 feet.
If you can grab me, you're too close.
Something that I got from the documentary was like the Americans they were all struggling to bounce back. They're like, there was a one lady who was living in her sister's basement. It was like,
It wasn't even the basement, right? It was like a room or
she lived in a room in her sister's basement, and then eventually she moved.
all I have is the TV.
Eventually, she moved into an apartment,
the cheap
but then
one,
she
yeah.
got fired for supporting a union.
Which is so crazy. That should be 100% illegal. But go
But
ahead.
it was like they all the Americans that they had Bobby, the blonde lady from her sister's basement,
Mm-hmm.
and then that dude who was friends with Wong, who showed
went
them
fishing.
shooting guns and whatnot.
Yeah.
They were all like struggling and like trying to bounce back, like get back to where they
But
were.
they're still like, hey, let's be friends and shoot and fish.
And they had all these Chinese employees that were like, we're doing great, living the American dream.
And then you go to their apartments and it's like a foldable table and they're smoking cigarettes at it.
yeah, they're like, yeah, our family's fucking far behind, but you know, we're doing great. We're having fun.
That's what I wanted
So
to
it was
bring
like
up.
it was a weird dynamic between the two.
That's what I wanted to bring out too. One of my first notes actually is, it was the chairman saying it doesn't matter how much money you make hourly. What matters is what America thinks of us. You guys are like the face of America.
I agree.
And so what I have written down is the Chinese chairman tells people that it's not about the money that you make. It's about how the American people see you in shows, in his board meetings. And then he talks about in the board meetings how the number one thing is profit. He's like, we need to make a profit because they took a loss the first 2 years or whatever. They took a $40 million loss the first 2 years. And then he goes to the people and he goes, I just want you to know, it's not about profit. It's about what we think of you and what America thinks of you. And him putting that kind of pressure on his workers is insane, bro. That's just standard business, right? To where like the people who are in the higher ups working for corporate, they're like, hey, the bottom line is profit. Let's go to everyone who's a tier 1 employee and say, profit doesn't matter. What matters is the output you work. That blew my mind.
When you look at 40, like, I want you to continue, but when you look at 40 million is a drop in the bucket for this Chinese corporation.
Totally.
Like, that's the scary part. I want Alec, I want you to continue because what you're saying is great, but I wanted to reiterate that is that they have the ability to come over here and say, yeah, we took a $40 million loss this year, but for one, since they're an outside company, they get to claim a percentage of their losses, so they end up getting that money back as a government. I think like a government stipend for one, but for two, they can just say, "Hey, 40 million, that's nothing, no worries." But what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to boost the morale of our employees and say, "Hey, we may have taken a loss, but what matters most is that you guys are the face of our company, and you guys are what matter," which is basically a bold-faced lie, knowing full well that what they lost didn't matter, but what they're trying to do is just rally the troops just a little bit more so they can try to get them back. With the company employees not realizing that, hey, we're going to claim this year as a loss, i.e., we're going to make money on the money that we lost anyways, because the U.S. government says, oh, you guys struggled? Here, we'll give you guys a hand.
Squeeze the juice.
What's that?
Squeeze the juice. Guys, just a little addendum here. I have to go. I have to eat some stuff because it's kind of late here.
Go eat some stuff.
You guys have. I'm gonna continue on the podcast. I'm gonna keep you watching. I'm just gonna be eating, so I'm gonna deactivate it, and you guys have a good conversation while you are at it. But I'm gonna keep on the chat, so you guys keep going. Thank you very much for the opportunity to actually being here. Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, lads. See you guys next time.
Awesome. See you, man. Enjoy dinner and enjoy time with your family. Thank you for being here. To continue on what Plan Daddy was saying was, yeah, they did take a loss and take the money, and then they went and they gave their employees a $2 bonus, right?
That was after the unions were like, they were starting to get more like involved with the unions, and that was to deter, like, oh, don't side with the unions. Here's $2 extra so you can be company happy.
And then what did he say right after that? He's like, I'll give you $2 extra. Now you work harder and skip breaks, right?
I don't remember that.
Well, he was like, everybody here today, $2 extra from what you're making. And everyone starts cheering and clapping. And he goes, and in return, what I want is for you to work harder and do better. So
after they fired the president and vice president and hired 2 Chinese people for it,
they replaced them with 2 Chinese people,
which is completely legal.
Yeah.
But I'm not arguing the legality of that. I'm just saying
no. Well, so I just want to put this into your head is that they considered it legal because technically in the United States we're not in the United States, but in a good amount of states we're a right to work. So that, we're in a right to work state. It means they can't just fire you for nothing, right? And that's where the unions influence the state itself and the rules that they enact. Not every state is a right to stake. New York, not every state is a right to work state. New York is a right to work state. New Jersey is a right to work state. That means that if we're talking about, what the rules are, they can't just fire you for nothing.
Yeah.
They can't just say, "Hey, we don't like you, you're fired," or you're not. They can't. The days are gone where they say, "Oh, it's not a good fit," and then fire you. No,
or
there
you're
has
not
to
performing
be,
it
like,
well enough.
Yeah, exactly. There has to be a tangible. If you're not performing, that's a different.
Okay.
That's where that comes into play. Is they see that loss and they can say, "Oh, as the CEO, you were responsible for this," and that's where they can say, "Well, we just took a $40 million loss, and our head of the company for the United States Ohio branch or wherever it was, we took a loss because you weren't doing your job." They can say that, and they can justify it because of their losses, and say, "All right, we're going to put our own guys in." And now that their own guys are in, they can do whatever they want as far as the hiring and firing process. They can do whoever they can hire whoever they want, because all they did was they didn't say, "All right, we're taking applications for the next CEO of Fuzhou Corporation here in Ohio." No, they literally just put in whoever they wanted, who they felt was
Who
appropriate.
they knew
They had
would follow
every right.
orders.
Well, exactly. Who they felt had every right to be there, right? Who they felt, and so they filled that spot. But the worst part was they were within their rights to do that in that state. They were within their rights to do that, and that's the issue.
If I may, why were they in their rights, and why is that the issue? Because you say that, and I kind of get it legally, but
Is it the same as at will employment?
yeah, it sounds like you're objecting to something, and I'm not sure what.
So what I'm objecting to is the fact that he was only the head for a year. And basically they gave him a waiting period, basically, where they could say, okay, like they couldn't buy the company out, right? And then just fire them outright. They needed a reason. So they waited that 52-week period and said, this is how we're going to dick them. We're going to claim these losses, and it's his fault, and now we're good. Because now the heads of the company are
and
our
now we
people.
fulfilled our promise.
Yeah, it's the same as at
Which
will
is
employment.
Exactly. They cleared their hands. They're good. They said, well, we gave him a fair shake. He just didn't work out. Which in reality, it was a changing of hands. The company was just bought. It's the first year. Of course, you're gonna take losses as you're ironing out all the
As you
fundamentals.
drop $50 million.
Yeah, so that's and that lies like something that really digs into me is the fact that we lost American, an American CEO who, if you actually, you guys watched it, you guys saw it. He had passion, and he was excited to have a new investor into the company. He was excited to have work here. He was excited because he knew economically what this was going to do to the area. And as soon as that 52-week period was up, he got thrown to the fucking dogs and was torn apart and removed from his position.
But also, and more importantly, is when China moved in, they said, hey, we'll make sure that there are American people running this because we want it to be a joint American
They wanted
China
it to be they wanted it to be an American company, not a joint. They wanted it to be a solely American company.
But then they replaced all the Americans in charge
with China.
with Chinese people.
China.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's also funny because they had Dave.
Did I see anything wrong with that? Question mark?
A little bit.
Yeah,
they
because
had
they broke their promise. They broke their deal.
They had Dave, the former vice president, like
Dave, the former vice president.
like they still recorded with him, and like he was driving
They
past.
still hung out with him.
They
still kicked it with this motherfucker, and they're like, "We know you're gonna get fired soon. Let's go grab a beer and get some fish."
They were driving past the plant, and Dave was like, "There's Fuyao. You can't spell Fuyao without F-U." And that was fucking funny.
And then he was
terrible place.
the ex-president who was like, oh yeah, all of a sudden, guess what? I support unions. When I was first here, I didn't support unions, but guess what, motherfuckers?
They had the senator speak at the grand opening ceremony.
Yeah.
And he was like, I support all unions. Like, if these guys want to unionize.
Out of place.
Did you see how, side note, did you see how cringy that was? Did you see?
Super.
It was awkward as fuck.
Dude, they were crawling in their freaking skin, bro, while he was talking because all they had was the interpreter in their ear.
Brand is my friend.
Dude, he was crawling in his skin.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was hilarious. I was watching that and I was actually dying laughing because you could see it in his face, in his demeanor, in all of them. The way he was speaking, dude. And they're watching this guy like, you mother effer, get off our stage.
They were joking like, I want him dead.
No, they were not joking. In China, that'd be the protocol.
But they were saying like I want him dead.
I'd kill him if I had the chance. I'd strangle him with my bare hands.
They were like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, what the fuck does he think he's saying at our company's opening day?
Which is so like brazen to be like, yo, like that's culture, right? Like to where like an American could be like, up there on stage, hey, I support unions, I support fair employment, and then everyone else is like, yo, what the fuck? Is that totally legal? Yeah, that's totally legal, but fuck you for saying it, dude. Are you kidding? That's the culture. Is like they're like, hey, what we says go, because like I said, they had to be in tight with the government. The Chinese government had to be in tight. Like there's no way the Chinese government didn't have a hand in that, because the Chinese government has a hand in all the business in China.
Yes.
So there's no way that the Chinese government didn't have a hand in that coming to America. And what I really wanted to say next is, while Josh is away, but what I wanted to say, the most important thing is, if this is propaganda, right? So let's just assume the movie American Factory is propaganda by the United States or by the Chinese government. Excuse me, this is making me super burpy and gassy. Good beer though. What would it be saying, right? Online I looked and it's like a lot of people saying it's about how to globalize the word. Do you know what globalization is?
Yes.
So for people who don't know, globalization is when the whole world comes together under one government, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was looking at that and I was like, yo, it's cool that we're coming together and being like, your culture is different, our culture is different. How can we meet in the middle? But a lot of people came together and was like, yo, if this is all about globalization or cultural differences, what's this all for, right? So I Googled, because I had to Google, what's the purpose of this documentary? Like, what provoked some random American person
Why'd they do it?
to make this documentary? And I Googled it. Does anybody know?
No.
Bonus points to anyone who knows. Who produced this fucking film?
It was on your corkboard, though.
It was on my corkboard. Do you know?
Something Reinhardt.
Nothing?
It's like a Julia and a something. They were like married or something. Or related. One of the two.
The producer of the film, Barack Obama.
Hell yeah.
Barack Obama and Michelle Obama.
Well, there was also like after it on Netflix, it was like a sit down with the Obamas.
But nevertheless, they started their own production company and sponsored that. The reason it got onto Netflix was, of course, because Obama backed it. And I just wanted to point this out. I'll pull up my Corculus.
Well, if you're fucking $7.99 corkboard.
They have a company called Higher Ground, Obama's production company.
Damn.
They have a company called Higher Ground. And I watched the interview too after that. And Obama was like, I want to share the news of China and the idea of globalization. And I looked into it and I was like, why the fuck would an ex-president sponsor something like this?
Well, can I just put something into perspective though, and this is something that falls onto Netflix itself
Sure.
in a brighter light,
Sure.
is simply because something so fundamental. Netflix has been in the media because they've had a lot of controversial shit come out.
Yeah.
We know this.
Yes.
But it does say something on Netflix's part for them to be like, an American president has just created and founded an entertainment company, which is what it's considered. It's considered an entertainment company. And they said, fuck that. We don't care what you're about to tell us, because we know that since your name is tied to it, you're going to have an influence more so than anybody else on the American people. Imagine, think about how many people voted for Obama, right? Now they're seeing that Obama has an entertainment company on Netflix. Netflix said, that's great. Most Americans have Netflix as it is. We don't need you to back an entertainment company that's going to produce on Netflix. They said, we don't want whatever propaganda you're going to spew, whether it's good propaganda or bad propaganda. They thought to themselves, they're like, we want to be Sweden. We want to be in the middle. We are, for all intents and purposes, we'll call Netflix unbiased. We know they're biased to a certain degree, but they're also very edgy. Netflix has always been known for being the people to push boundaries, better or for worse.
They had that,
for better or for worse.
That fucking movie with the little kids who were cheerleaders and shaking their ass. They were like 13 or 12 or something.
Yeah, that was
exactly, which a lot of people had issues with. Which I had issues with as well.
It was
but then they also had the full scale, basically expose of what's his name that had the island with
Epstein.
the young girls. Epstein. They had side note, I couldn't watch it. I watched the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, because it's too rapey.
Dude, it literally made me physically sick. I'm just saying, it made me physically sick for one. But they are willing to put shit out like that. But they also had the mindset to say, okay, an American president is backing this production company, and we still don't want them because we don't want whatever, we don't want whatever, propaganda you're about to put out on our platform. They rather pull a guy off YouTube that has fought his way through YouTube making, food reviews, and actually gave him his own show before they gave the ex-United States president reign on their own platform to put whatever information he wants out there, whether biased or not. Think about that. And that's where I give them credit. I will give them credit on that, because that's very similar to what the magazine company turned, political justice warriors.
It's just Wikipedia if you want to pull it up. But they've got like what things. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, what's the old magazine company that turned political justice, warriors? I know you guys know who it is. A
magazine?
They were a magazine. They started out as a magazine, and now they're on YouTube and everything else.
BuzzFeed?
And they do basically. No. They go to different countries, and they talk about like they used to go to different countries and
Wired?
talk about the drugs. No.
Vice?
No. Vice, dude.
Vice sounds
Vice
like,
Vice started out as unbiased, true, hard-hitting information on all fronts.
And
they went
like,
to different
here's how you make
countries.
drugs.
Yeah, and they
That's
would
how you
do
make crystal
everything.
meth.
They would go into these war-torn areas, and they would record people getting like destroyed.
Yeah.
And they were like, you guys want to know what's really going on? Here's what's really going on. Why? Because we're fucking here. I'm recording this. I'm literally risking my life. They're burning people in this ditch like they were doing in South America. They were burning the homeless in the drainage ditches. They were lighting them up with gasoline and lighting them on fire. Vice was there, and they were recording. They're like, we can die. There's a very good chance we could die.
There's a high chance
We're
you're
getting
gonna
the
die.
footage. Yeah, they're like, but we're getting the footage, and we're gonna bring this back. And they made it out, and now it's all they're political activists, and it's all leftist media and all this other stuff. And it's like you can actually just see the turn in which they kind of just went away from what they used to do, which was just true hard-hitting journalism, like the hardest of hitting journalism. And that's great for back then, but now they've changed. And it's, you know, when you look at Netflix is kind of trying to hold fast on their ideology of being like, we're not influenced by anybody else other than Netflix. We are Netflix, and we're going to put out whatever the F we want. And we're not going to let Barack Obama, you know, as great or as shitty as some people may think he was, we're not going to let him come onto our platform and, you know, spew whatever it is that he wants to spew, whether good or not. And I like that.
American Factory won an award or two. It won some awards.
It won the Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature in 2019. And did it win an Oscar?
An Academy Award is an Oscar.
Oh yeah, then yeah, that's the award it won
for Best Documentary.
Best Documentary.
I watched it in college.
Yeah,
I watched it for my school. Actually, it's crazy. It was actually a part of the curriculum. It was written into the curriculum to watch this and show the both sides of either good unionism, bad unionism. Because obviously I'm in a union and I was going to school, and the school is pro union, obviously, because it was actually built. The school was built and funded by the men who actually established my union here in New York.
Right.
But so obviously it's biased.
Yeah.
But it's also super relevant to today. And the conversations we were having was not our union's good, our union's bad. It wasn't that conversation. It was a conversation about economics here in the United States and what actually changed it. It was a conversation that was had with that movie being at the forefront towards the end of the curriculum, being like, all right, guys, so I've taught you both sides of the economic system. Now we're going to watch this, and you guys can give me, this is the professor speaking, the professor was like, now you guys can tell me what you think is right and wrong with this. And that was a part of the curriculum. So yeah, did it win an award? Absolutely. Did it win a very prestigious award? 100% it did. But it's also now being used as a curriculum tool to actually, you know, educate the, you know, different generations of future middle class workers. Because technically I'm paid well, but we're still considered middle class, because when you look at upper middle and upper class, there's still such a disparity that I will never claw my way out of middle class or upper middle class and into upper class.
Such a big range.
It'll just never happen. It's such a huge range, which, like I said, it never was. The biggest range used to be from lower middle class to upper middle class. And then there was like, dude, you're poor? Well, we can fix that really easily. We'll just give you a job. And then on the upside, it was like, oh, you're really rich? Well, your family has always been rich since the 1900s. So there's nothing we could do about that. But they didn't have that much power. They had a couple hotels.
Inflation.
Yeah, they had a couple hotels here and there. You know, if we're talking about like New York, like you look at the Rockefellers, you know, you look at the, you look at these old names. They had money. They were the upper class. They had always been the upper class.
They owned it.
Exactly. But you look at the middle class. The middle class was pretty much everybody else but them. It was literally everyone else. And then if you were poor, that was because you were probably an immigrant and you came here with cents in your pocket, like the Italians did back during the big immigration boom. But even at this point, when we're talking about 40s, 50s, and 60s, those immigrants were now high middle class because they were the working class again. So it wasn't even that. So if you were poor back then, you literally just had nothing. You had nothing to your name. You had no family. It didn't have to do with drugs. It didn't have to do with being a drug addict and ruining your life. No, that's what I'm saying. It had nothing to do with drugs or being a drug addict and ruining your life. It had nothing to do with you being,
which is fucking insane.
A gambling addict. It had nothing, because even if you were a drug addict and a gambling addict, you were still
making money to gamble and do drugs with, motherfucker.
Exactly. Even though you were in
still
that,
support yourself and your family.
You were still considered middle class, because guess what? You could still keep a roof over your head while working a shitty fucking 9 to 5. And if you were poor, well, then you were probably gonna die soon, anyways. And that's the fundamental truth. Because anybody that was willing and able to work made it. they made it. And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. My point being, mainly with Obama releasing this documentary, is he talking about globalization? Is there a bigger picture that him and Winnie the Pooh are seeing, where it's like, okay, eventually we will be a one world government because everyone's got nukes and we're gonna have to nuke each other to be right, or we can concede at some point and understand each other, and we can start with this factory and how we work?
I think, if applicable, something to look at would be, what is Obama's role in this production company? Is he just the
Owner.
top? Is he the top investor? Like, what is
Owner.
his?
He created
Right,
it.
but like,
Him and Michelle Obama.
I get that, but like, is his active influence in the company?
It has to be.
Like, do they? I want to do a film about this. Go do it, or like, are they just the idle investors and then they have hello Windows? Disconnected, reconnected. What the fuck?
Are we good?
I mean, we've dropped like 300 frames, but I don't know when. We've got a red square instead of green.
We've had that for like the entire thing.
Internet's bad, but like, if fucking like, what is their influence in this company? Yes, they're the owners. I get that, but like, are they active? Are they passive? Do they
They're
have
active.
Do
They're very
they have
active.
other people's doing their stuff for them? Or like, I want to do this, go work on it. Are they on the front lines doing it with them?
Remember how you said that they had the interview after the American Factory documentary?
Oh, the internet's just down.
Uh-oh. Ghost Hand, are you... No.
No,
Plant Daddy, are you
our
still
internet is just down.
Shit. Did we just get fucking censored by the American government? I will fucking flip a goddamn Hindi cow if we were censored by our own government. I will fucking burn this establishment to the ground. Do you understand me?
No, our internet is just down.
Put us back online. Right now.
Please, I love the USA.
I swear to God, I'll destroy everything you know and
Obama's
love.
my favorite president. I voted for you.
I will destroy everything you know and love. I swear to
He didn't-
fucking Christ.
He didn't vote. Punish him, not me. Make more Parks Internet go out, not Camarillo's.
Put me back online. I swear to God. I swear to fucking God.
Well, Discord's popping off. Streaming audio just died. Yeah.
Thanks for the update.
That was
We were there.
Plant Daddy. Turn the Wi-Fi.
You start bringing up Obama and conspiracy theories and get shut down.
I mean, we're still going because this is the power didn't go out. We're still like, this is still a show.
I know. That's what
We're still
talking
we're
shit.
still recording, just we're not live. That's
All I'm saying is, if we can talk shit about Ronald Reagan being a shitty president, any
Which he
president
was.
could be a shitty president.
what
And I'm saying it's criminal if we don't at least consider the possibility of this being manufactured propaganda.
I 100% just like Blackfish.
Sure.
But I would.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying
I get that.
you got to look at who the producers were.
I would just like to know like how active of a role the Obamas play
Very active. He's the
in.
owner.
That doesn't mean shit though. Like,
He did an interview supporting the American Factory.
I didn't watch it, but like
He did it. Well, you know he did the
I know
interview.
I know it's there. I didn't watch it. I don't know what the contents is.
But you know, within the last year, he talked about
2 years.
within the last 2 years, he talked about how important it is to him and Michelle Obama to release
But
content.
I don't know the content of what the after the fact was. So
there was no after the fact. It's just
it took place
Why did
after the
you-
documentary. So it's the after the fact.
sure, but the idea is it's not what did the documentary cause or do. It's more of why did you start the company, and this was his biggest one yet. So the American Factory was the biggest. Are we back online?
Fucking barely.
Shit. The American Factory had the most
It's working on it.
critical acclaim. We should probably just end it, to be honest.
Oh, it's connecting back to the internet. It's going.
What happened?
The internet just went out. I don't know.
Look, if the U.S. government had anything to do with that, I swear to Christ, I'll spend the rest of my life disestablishing you.
Our recording hasn't stopped.
Of course not. But the message has. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem.
Are we back?
I have no idea. I keep seeing messages pop up, but this is messages I've already seen. The grade A propaganda from Ghost Hand.
Anyways, I just want to know their activity. I know you keep saying they're the owner. I get that.
Well, you keep saying, what do you mean?
Like,
they
how
did
on
interviews.
hands are they?
They're pretty on hands. They were producers. Producers are the ones who sit over the director's shoulder.
Producers just assign role, like who's doing what. That's all a producer does. That's it. They assign a director, a camera operator, and that's it. They assign the roles for the technical jobs.
So they definitely were like,
you do this, you do that.
and you do this.
The
other
director
thing.
does whatever they want.
But
The producer, all the producer does is they get a team.
isn't that huge to
No,
chill? I said, isn't that huge? You said no.
that's not huge.
Isn't
It's
that,
up to the director.
Isn't that huge to be able to appoint the director? That's like being able to appoint a CEO or a manager of a company.
No,
like
because
that's,
it depends on
you're
what the
choosing the face of your company or your business.
right.
It's a
But
big deal.
the director has the image in mind, and whatever the director does is their mindset. So it depends
Founded
on
on the producer. So the producer was like, I like this director's image, how he goes about things. Let's choose that director.
It can go a whole many different ways.
But it could have gone that way.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch the after the fact.
But you're you fucking really...
Producers create a team. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Directors, it's up to them. They can do, I want to go this way. I want to go that way.
But if the producer one day wakes up and goes, I want a new director, could they do that?
I mean, if you already have shit done, it wouldn't be smart. You'd waste a lot of money.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the Justice League movies, but the point is that could happen.
It could. It's just not a smart business idea.
But the producer's in charge of that, not necessarily the director.
Yes, that is the producer's choice.
So the producer still holds more power than the director. So if Barack Obama and Michelle Obama are producers, they hold more power than the director.
Yes, if they've already done half of the documentary and like, I don't like it, they can scrap the entire thing.
He's the goddamn president. He can do what he wants.
I mean, not anymore.
Okay, but you understand what I'm saying is if he goes, I don't like this vision of this documentary, I want you to make it more look like... And look, man, I'm not saying this is the goddamn case. I'm just saying it's possible. And it's weird that I brought it... It's weird that the second I brought it up, the internet dies, so that's fucking weird. So let's just cut all the shit. Like, that's fucking weird.
Thanks, man.
What are you saying?
Nothing. That's just you. Thanks, man, for ruining the internet with Obama.
I broke the internet. I didn't talk shit about Obama. I just had ideas about Obama and his company. That's all I had. Higher ground. I didn't know that was a red flag in our government. I didn't know.
Oh, we're live.
I didn't know we had red flags.
We are live.
Cool. But all the viewers are gone. Super chill.
There's still says 5.
But you said that's not the most reliable source.
It's not, but it says 5. So we need to act according.
All right. Well, I guess we keep going through these notes.
Something that I thought was cool is that when all the white guys they brought to China for the first time, like there was that dinner, and then they fucking brought all the white guys on stage and did the YMCA, and they had fucking minions playing in the background.
Yeah,
that was fucking funny.
What you said earlier, they had like the kids on stage. I was tripping out because they said all the factory workers worked here, and then they did the show. I don't know if you've ever rehearsed for a show, but it takes a lot of hours to rehearse.
When they work 12-hour shifts and can only see their family twice a year.
Imagine getting off of your shift and being like, okay, time to train for the show. That would fucking suck, dude.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work. Oh, I hear someone coming back in.
Plant Daddy, are you there? We are. If you are,
Barely. The U.S. government censored our asses because my asshole stayed woke.
we should be live. That should be a thing. But, yeah, no.
Oh, if the internet went down, then it probably cut quite a bit. So it's at least, at the very least, it's lagging really far behind.
Well, not necessarily.
I'm just saying. So
It's fucking right on where I said.
so live, we're not lagging,
No.
but no one's responding. I think we should just end it, bro. Let's get some food. I'm hungry as shit.
Okay, well, due to internet issues.
Technical difficulties.
Oh, he's there.
There he is.
Hello,
Oh,
sir.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know if you guys were gonna get back in time.
It's okay.
We didn't think we'd get back in time.
We just kind of let it happen.
That's all right.
What else we could do?
It figured it shit
I love
out.
it. The viewers,
So-
the viewers came right back too. That's the funny part.
That's the facts, bro.
We
That's
love
the
it.
facts.
I know. I mean, listen. If you guys are hungry, you guys want to cut it here. That's fine. We just had a really pretty long stream. Whatever you guys want to do.
You're the overlord.
Would you
I
like
just
to,
run the buttons.
what? Go through your notes. Find a few that you want to talk about.
The merging of cultural expectations being too high from Chow.
I have the same thing. Talk about that.
Americans' work is different from Chinese work. It's a whole different kind of process.
Yeah, you're right. You didn't need spell correct. That's great. Americans work different. Okay.
They do. It's a two complete. So the Chinese, they have the
Different laws.
They have the 12-hour shifts, and right.
That's insane.
And when they brought over like the white dudes to like, you're all the supervisors of your areas. You can learn a thing or two from the Chinese factory. And they bring them over, and they're like, they're working fucking super efficient. They do the 19-man sound off.
They don't even
like
talk
a military.
nice. Yeah, that's fucking sketch, bro.
It is, but like they're working like a fucking well-oiled machine.
Did you ever notice like the fear in the Chinese people's faces?
Not at all.
Every time I saw that, I looked at the people's faces who were from China or Chinese workers when they were in America, and all I could see was that they were scared of the people in charge of them.
No flex tape. I don't think the American government and the Chinese government could coexist at any some timeline because
We coexist right now.
I don't thi- but in
No.
Am I
I don't
gonna
think we
undermine
do.
and cancel the goddamn stream again?
in the way he thinks he wants this to go, I don't think it could ever happen. They were
Think about
saying
this. China just shut down our internet.
they fucking maybe we just got nuked. We got airstrike somewhere.
It was either
EMP.
China or it was the U.S. government. Let's not
So China.
let's not rule that out.
But
We're banned in China.
no, we're not.
Oh, we're not.
Just North Korea, Syria,
Free Hong
Iran,
Kong,
and
free
Iraq.
Hong Kong, free Hong Kong, free
Tiananmen
Hong
Square,
Kong,
Tiananmen
free
Square,
Hong Kong,
Tiananmen
free
Square,
Hong Kong,
Tiananmen
free Hong
Square.
Kong.
Lord have mercy.
Now
Flex,
we're banned
no.
in China.
Flex, no. I don't think that the United States and American government could coexist. And the reason I say that is because
you guys really don't think
we
so?
are
No.
we are both an
Y'all got no
economic
faith.
we are both an economic stronghold, and that's not the will of humans as it stands.
There needs to be a hegemon.
The fucking American workers couldn't even fucking be happy with what they got. They were all like, oh, I'm fucking tired of this bullshit. You got me working goddamn fucking all these hours, and I don't want to do this shit.
If I went from $29 an hour to $12 an hour, I'd have the same attitude.
We don't
Yep.
need you at a company like that then.
I don't want to be at a company like that.
Then fucking leave.
My company needs a union at that point.
We don't. I wouldn't join a union if I was them. I was that one guy with the lazy eye
Right.
and kind of retarded looking was like, I don't want to join the union.
That's your defense?
Yes.
I'm
Go
the
ahead.
retarded guy.
Listen,
who
I want to
doesn't
hear
know
this.
better?
I want to hear this. All right, hold on. Josh,
You just
you
said
play the part.
yes. I'm
you
retarded.
play the
I don't
part
know
of the
any better.
non-union guy.
Take advantage
And
of me.
Alec, after everything that I've taught you already about what we know as being union, I want you to rebuttal.
Can I have another
Josh,
beer?
you yeah, for sure. Sure.
It's fucking ridiculous. I love it. It's just ridiculous.
Me saying I'm the retarded guy
Josh.
and wanted to not join
Josh,
the
I
union?
know. I'm usually
Josh,
the retarded
I want
guy.
you to be the union buster. I want you to be the non-union guy. And obviously, you're a little jaded
Wait,
because now
Josh
you
is
understand
both?
what it's like.
The non-union union buster.
Were you pointing at us physically?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the
I
non-union.
can't see you
he's the
pointing
union
physically. You know
buster.
that, right?
Yeah, I know. And Alec is going to be the pro-union guy. I want you guys to have a simple 5-minute debate. Why we should or
pro-union.
we shouldn't.
Let's set a timer.
Look,
Let's set a timer. Hang
I'm
on.
fucking starting
Hang
now.
on. No.
Starting
Stop.
now.
Hang on.
I got it.
Go,
I got
5
the timer.
minutes.
I got
Go.
the timer.
I barely know what a union does in the first place. I know they
You
regulate.
realize you're the pro-union guy, right? Busted.
No. He's the non-union. He's the union buster.
They regulate
Alec,
wages
you're
and
the pro-union
benefits
guy.
or some
Got it.
shit. And like, okay, so if I'm already working for a company, like let's say I work for Target, for example, that's a perfect example. We don't have a
Is
union.
it?
Yes, it is.
I never.
They take care of us. They give us all the benefits we need and whatnot. And we get yearly raises.
Didn't you get depressed at your last job and have to
I am
switch
currently
positions?
depressed. That's besides the point.
No, that is exactly the
So
point.
you're not
Keep
the guy
going.
to be the spokesman.
Keep going, Alec.
I'm not depressed.
going.
I'm not depressed
He has
because
5
of,
minutes.
I'm
I'll
not
give him his 5
depressed
minutes, but just know that I'm right.
because of the job. I'm depressed because of my own pride getting in the way of my job. That's a completely different thing.
So talk to us about that.
I love the job I'm doing. I'm not happy with the amount of numbers I'm pulling in.
So you want a union to have you?
How is a union going to help me people steal?
What?
How is a
How
union?
is a union going to help people steal? I don't know what the.
I work at
Wait,
sec-
hang on, back up. Is he union busting or am I union busting? He's union busting, right?
He's union busting, and
He's
you're
not
pro-union.
doing a great job.
He's not. But this is where you interject. Tell him why. Tell him why. What your proposition
I got
is
3 minutes.
worth his time and his money.
You got 3
I
minutes.
got
go.
3
Go ahead, go
minutes
ahead,
and
go ahead.
30 seconds. So, okay, so how I understand unions is that they regulate wages and benefits for employees throughout a company. Am I wrong? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Yes.
Don't
I'm
ask
wrong.
me.
Yes. Okay,
I think you're wrong.
Well, the union man said I'm wrong.
Well, I'm union busting. What am I doing? No, I'm pro-union.
I was asking the union guy, not
Am I
you.
pro-union?
Yes,
Okay.
fucker. God
Alec,
damn it. How
Alec,
hard is
yeah,
that
you're
to
pro-union.
understand?
All right, let's
I'm
we'll have this
pro-union.
conversation. I will interject as needed, but yes, we regulate wages, we regulate benefits. Continue. That's the fundamental, but we'll go at it. Go.
I'm
I wrote
pretty
it
sure
down. I wrote
the
it down,
company.
Josh. I'm
added-
pro-union.
Thank you. I already understood the assignment. I'm pretty sure the company should do that at the beginning, and it's up to itself to kind of regulate itself.
Okay, hang on.
I mean,
I'm pro-union.
Shut the fuck up, man.
And you're vouching for being union,
I'm for the company.
which is union.
No,
Because the company does better with a union.
no, not necessarily. It
But when-
depends on
but-
what your views.
But when you look at the facts,
You're taking away from my time.
you're right. But when you look at the facts, unions do help companies make profit and money and help workers'
It depends.
safety and rights.
Unions can make the.
Are you in a
worker-
union right now with Target?
No.
High five. I just missed a beat.
The unions could make employees more lazy. That's what the fucking Chinese people said.
I disagree. And Plant
It
Daddy,
could make them comfortable.
Plant Daddy,
You don't think teachers should get paid a certain amount because they're fucking lazy, and you've said that yourself.
Plant Daddy,
And they're in a union, so
Plant-
go fuck yourself.
Plant Daddy brought up a really good point, though. He's in a union, and that protects him.
The electrician unions, yeah.
Wow, way to not know your unions,
I'm asking
asshole.
a question, dickhead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Alec. No, go ahead. You're go.
Mr. Union,
Rebuttal.
go.
You're in a union, right, Plant Daddy?
I am.
What union are you in?
I'm in the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
That's beautiful. Anything brotherhood is beautiful. And what I've noticed about you when you're talking is that you are clearly pro-union. And you're pro-union not because it's good for business or against anyone else, but it's good for everyone. Not because it benefits just you, it benefits everyone in your circle. Is that correct?
That's correct, but I want you to look at Josh when you say that.
Union benefits everyone, not just one person, not just him, everyone in his circle, everyone who works at Target, everyone who works at Safeway, everyone who works in the Brotherhood of Electricians and fire. It benefits everyone, but only one person benefits fiscally from not having a union.
which is the me.
the chairman, the CEO. No,
Because I don't want to.
you
I don't
would
want to.
benefit from a union.
I don't want to join a union because I work harder than everyone else that's in that union.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I get paid the same amount of them when I could get the recognition from my company and get better promotions, better wages, better everything? If I
Because-
can climb up my ladder without being in union for doing better work, why would I join a union?
Because you would get the pay and the recognition, and I have all the examples you'd ever need. Pizza Rev. You did all the work.
There was no union though.
Yeah, you're right. There was no union. And did you ever get the title that you wanted? Did you ever get the pay you deserved? Did you get
Restaurants don't join unions though.
Doesn't matter. If it had a union, you would have the credit. You would have
Is
the
there
pay.
a restaurant union?
There absolutely is. That's 5 minutes, but we're gonna keep going. If
I only like
if
two
you
of
were
those.
at Pizza Rev, and they had a union, you would get the pay you deserve. You would get the recognition you deserve. You would get the promotion you deserve, and you would get that all because your experience and the work you put in. Because you'd have people behind you, like me, like Plant Daddy, like everyone who's ever worked in the fast food industry, like everyone who's ever worked in any industry that they were like, this fucking sucks. You know why? Because work sucks. But when you have everyone behind you saying, you know what? You deserve a little bit more, and we're on your side. You have the alliance, you have the team. That's what America's built on. America's not feared for its nuclear weapons anymore. America is feared because it has alliances, because it has teams and brotherhoods, because it has people who are in its corner, and America has those people's backs as well.
I mean, sure, maybe now, but America was built on the individual back in the day.
My turn.
I disagree, but
Go ahead.
Go ahead. That's the evilest laugh I've
boy.
ever heard.
Boy. Let me tell you, son. America was built on the backs of Americans who were willing to work. Our education system is built around the farmers, the fundamentals of the United States, which were the farmers.
And
the
everything you're saying has a union.
The reason why we have our summers is because back when education actually started here in the United States, when we had the schoolhouses that had, 5 to 10 students in them in every town, not every town, but in
That's
a
like
town
100 people in
that
the
had
country.
education,
Go ahead. Yeah.
right? The reason why we have our summers is because the students that went to school, they would go to school on the off seasons of the crops. So on their off time,
They
would
work
go
in the
get an
plant.
education. No, on the off time, they would go and get an education. But during crop season, they would go to work. That's why we have summers. That's why we have winters. Then they enacted a little bit of a winter break where we would get that little bit of time off, which would
Grimbus.
allow us to get our education, follow our religions. Yes, yeah, Catholicism or Christianity or whatever you follow.
Religion.
They allowed that time for you to celebrate with your family, and then you would go back to school. And then once the crop seasons would come back, that's when everybody would go away from the schools and go work on their own farms. Historically, that's how America was built. It was built on the backs of the American worker. Now, you're telling me that you feel you should be paid more because you put this time in and you did this job. Well, let me explain something to you. And this is something that I explained something to the rest of the guys that were watching earlier. The reason why we have these unions is because it's not about you.
So you're
It's
still
about the
pro-union.
collective. It's about the pro union. It's not about you. It's about the collective. It's about the 1,000, 2,000,
That's exactly it.
10,000, and 100,000 of yous that are building the United States of America.
Yeah.
Now imagine if not only you going up in the ranks, but the
Everyone with you.
hundreds of tens of thousands of people that do the same job that you do, that are all putting in the same work, because it's not about you.
But you
That's
think
not
you're
what
the
American
one.
dream was built on.
Because
You're
not
thinking you're
everybody
the
puts
one.
in the same work, though.
Sure, but
You-
you think
but-
you're the
but you
one. You
think
think you're
that.
better than everybody else.
That's
Oh,
a-
Josh, all right.
You're basically
all
saying
right.
no one else could do a better job than you.
I'm not
I
saying
could do
Alec,
a fucking better
Alec.
job than you. Yeah, what's up?
Alec, easy.
Sorry,
easy,
yeah.
easy.
relax.
Easy. So here we go.
I need food.
This is a really good. I know. We'll wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
But this is the exact topic. Is that, you know what? Having, and I'm saying this on a union standpoint, having a union sets the baseline. Okay, you may work harder than the person standing next to you. That's always going to be your ideology, and that's fine. What's going to happen, right, when you're working in an area like this with people who have 15, 20 years over you, is they're going to look at you and be like, guess what? Yes, he's an A journeyman, but he's a heavy hitter. He is putting extra time into learning more about how everything works. He wants to make this a well-oiled machine, and he's putting that time in. Guess what? As simple as it was for you to do your apprenticeship, which puts everybody on the baseline, okay, everybody got their education, everybody learned the trade within their 5 years, everybody did this, that, and the third. Guess what? You're standing out. Well, guess what? If you're going to be that guy to take it to the next level, you're not just going to be a journeyman. We're going to make you a foreman. Okay? Now you're going to run a crew. And guess what? You're going to get compensated, because once you have that white ticket, which is what we call that, once you have that white ticket, which is a foreman's ticket, you now have the right to get paid more, because you've showed the initiative. You've
like
showed
a college
that.
degree, bitch.
Exactly. And so now, and guess what? It's even easier than a college degree, because guess what? You show that initiative, you show that understanding. We're gonna make you a foreman. We're gonna make you some guy who's gonna not only work but also teach. Now you're gonna teach, and you're gonna run a crew, and you're gonna get compensated for that. Next up, you become a foreman, then you become a steward. You could become a super. That opens up so many avenues for you. So yeah, guess what? It's not just about you. It's about everybody. But that doesn't mean that your extra work is going to go unnoticed, and you're going to be compensated for that. Not in a way that's going to make you 100% better than everybody, but more responsibility is going to be put on you. More responsibility is going to be put on you to educate the other people, to educate the next generation, to educate the younger workers that don't have as much time as you do, but teach them how to be just like you. And that's how you're going to get rewarded. Because not only are you going to be getting paid fiscally more, but the journeymen under you, they're not going to be getting paid as much as you, maybe by a couple dollars or whatever.
But they're going to want what you have.
But not even that, but you're all going to have the same basic necessities. You guys are going to have medical, dental. You guys are going to have eye care. You guys are going to have that care, right? But you're also going to have that responsibility of teaching and basically giving the younger generation that understanding. And then when it's your time to step down, guess what? When they ask you to be a foreman again, you can say, no, thank you. I'm going to go back to working with my tools for the next 2 years, 3 years until I retire. And you're going to leave with a clean slate, with a big pension, and still have your medical dental. But not only for you, but for your family, your daughter, your son, your wife. Everyone is going to be able to live and survive because of the fact that you put your time in, you worked, and now you have all your education. And now you have all your benefits. Now you have that medical dental. Now you have all that stuff. That's not only benefiting yourself, but also benefiting the next generation, which are your kids. And that doesn't mean that your kids need to follow in your footsteps, but that's just that little bit of reminder that when your kids come to age, they're going to remember, hey, guess what? You have these braces because I work in a union, and my union said, well, that's your son? He should have health care. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He needs health care. Your wife needs to go into surgery. Guess what? We're gonna foot that bill. We're gonna put money into that as well. Because as you work, you're not only putting into your own pension, but you're also putting into your own healthcare. And the companies that are union also put a percentage of their own money into that, because they believe that your family and their families all deserve to have that basic fundamental right of being healthy here in the United States.
Really quick, Decadence, we're arguing pro-union versus anti-union. No, you're good. No worries.
Oh man, I can't even imagine your stance from Sweden.
We're arguing pro-union versus anti-union for the U.S.
I would love your stance from Sweden, though. Plan Daddy, can you tag me in just real quick? I wrote something down real quick. I just want to.
Yeah, please.
You're
go
a man
ahead.
of mathematics, right?
I'm a man of logic.
Logic.
A little different.
Which no. I'd argue that mathematics and logic go hand in hand.
They're a little different, but yeah.
Okay, if they go,
they're related. They're a little different.
Do they go hand in hand?
No.
Okay.
Not always.
I think they do.
I think they do too, but he's saying that they're a little different.
A little different.
So let's just say they're a little different.
I mean, I took a symbolic logic class, which is discrete mathematics.
You also have an economics degree you didn't earn. So let's just,
And you always tell me I have a college degree.
We're not pointing fingers. We're not pointing fingers.
What stance are you taking?
Sarcastically.
Let's keep it neutral, like Sweden. Let's have an educated discussion here.
Alec is incapable.
You've always been a man of mathematics. Logic. So you've always been a man of logic, right? So logically, if you want everyone to do well, do you only reward the rich or do you reward the average? You want the middle class, right? You want everyone in between. You want to take into consideration the best performers and the lowest performers and set a benchmark for people to do. You want to say everyone can do at least this good and be okay.
You reward those that exceed your expectations,
which is with the average.
Sure, if you have a baseline in mind already set up, you reward those that exceed it.
Well, a baseline could be placed in mind, or it could be derived over a course of time to see how much work people do versus how little work people do, and then finding the average.
But I also agree with the rewarding everyone, but I also believe in it being a scale.
Yeah, which would leave you to the average. The idea is if you are above or below this line, let's say you're the best worker at Pizza Rev.
I am.
Or let's say that you're the best worker at Target.
I am.
For sure you are. For sure you are. You are teaching
Sarcasm
everyone.
Aside, I am.
You are teaching everyone everything they know.
Still do.
That means everyone that else works there has to be below you.
They are.
Why would you hire anyone below you?
You wouldn't.
Exactly. But you can't rely on just you.
No, because I do security and I'm only at one place.
Exactly. So you're at the top of the scale, and let's say someone new is at the bottom of the scale. Mm-hmm. They're at the bottom of the scale, but averaging out your highest performance, the best performance they've ever seen, and the worst performance they've ever seen, lands about 50%.
But I'm also in a completely different department. So it's in a whole other calculation.
The point being, whatever department you're in, the calculation remains the same because you have to take into account the best performance, the worst performance, and where you need to be.
You can't base someone's performance who works in the clothing department and then compare them to someone who works in home department like I did. Mm-hmm. It's completely different.
How come
two way different areas?
How can you say that?
Can I just interject real quick?
Real quick, let me get this off my chest.
Go ahead.
How can you say that knowing that you left the home department to go to security, a completely different department, and feel comfortable and adequate at home?
Sorry, can you say that again? That made zero sense to me.
How can you leave the housing department into security and call yourself the best worker if the housing department was too hard for you?
It wasn't too hard. That I didn't have a problem with the workload itself.
Then why'd you leave?
Because I was underappreciated and the work I couldn't get done because I was helping other departments.
And you're more appreciated in security.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say you're the highest in security, but the lowest in home department.
I was the highest in home department.
I disagree because they said you couldn't meet the workload they had for you.
No one else did what I did there.
You couldn't meet the workload they had for you.
That's not true.
Means you're below average.
Not true.
You're at the top of security. You're above average.
Not even at the top.
The important thing is they have to understand and recognize there's a pinnacle and a valley. There's a peak and a valley that you can reach.
Right.
In home department, you were sad and you had to leave because you couldn't get all the work done.
It's not that I couldn't. It's that there was literally not enough time in the day to do what I did in a day and then help everybody else.
But your manager just told you need to get this, and this done.
I wasn't told. It was an expectation set the week before.
An expectation, which means you were told.
I was never verbally told you need to do this, that, and the other thing every day.
What were your expectations? To fill an aisle full of candles?
My workload for the day was push the truck, and then that's it.
And you didn't
what
do
I
that.
ended up doing was what the managers told me to do, which was help with flex, help the back flexes being online orders, help the front end being a cashier, which is not my job description, and then do every other thing on top of that.
So you couldn't focus on one thing at a time?
Wasn't allowed to.
Wasn't allowed to or didn't choose to?
Wasn't allowed to.
So, regardless of wasn't allowed to or didn't choose to, you still fell short of your goal.
How is that relevant? If I wasn't
It's the
allowed,
average.
if I wasn't allowed to do something,
I gotta agree with Josh here. I think I think the basis is just a little skewed here. I get what you're saying, Alec, but when you're talking about Josh, I think it's just a ladder. He did his thing, and then he moved on to something else. Mm-hmm. But what the conversation really was that, in a nutshell, if we're talking about unions, if we're talking about what we're talking about,
That's the main takeaway, right?
in a nutshell, there is that system in unions themselves too. There are journeymen, there are apprentices, there are supervisors, there are foremen. There is that ladder in which you can climb or choose not to, which is perfectly fine. You can choose not to. The basis is that no matter where in the spectrum you land, everyone gets the fundamental right to have basic things,
Which lands you on the average.
Which could land you in either the average or above average, which would make you a foreman or a super or a straw. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
But you don't have, exactly like Decadence says, you don't have to climb the ladder. You don't have to be the top of the top. Because guess what? Maybe Josh didn't want to get that responsibility put on him. Maybe he wanted to do his bare minimum 9 to 5 and go home. Just because he didn't want to do all the paperwork and all the emails and everything else that everybody else has to do when you get to become a super, when you get to become a foreman. Just because he doesn't want to do that doesn't make him a below average worker. Doesn't mean that he's lesser than anybody else. But because he decided to take on that extra role of being a foreman or a straw or a super or anything else, he's gonna get paid a little bit more, which is what Decadence was saying. You should be compensated for the work that you're doing. But just because he doesn't want to be more doesn't mean that he's less than anybody else. He's less in responsibility, sure, absolutely. There's other guys that are willing to take that onto their shoulders of being someone who's in charge of not only the men on site, but the men on several sites, which is what the super role is. And yes, they get paid exponentially more because guess what? The livelihoods of the men that are under them solely relies on them. That's why there's companies that have several supers, right? But just because he doesn't want to have that responsibility doesn't make him below average. Doesn't make him just average either. Because he can be an above average worker and still not take over that foreman's role or that super role. He can be the most intelligent man on the job site. Guess what? He's just going to be that go-to guy that knows the work, that knows how to do the thing. And is he going to be paid more? No, he's not. But guess what? He doesn't have to be. Because at the end of the day, the super, the foreman, and the journeyman, and the apprentices, which the apprentices is the lowest, the super is the highest, if we want to look at it like that, they all still get the fundamental rights, which is basic health care, a 9 to 5 job that gets you a paycheck at the end of every fiscal week and gets you a yearly income of X, Y, and Z dollars. If you want to be that higher, that super or that foreman or that number one, then yeah, your pay is going to be higher at the end of the year, but that's because you decided to take on that responsibility. But just because you don't take on that responsibility doesn't mean that you're not guaranteed the rest of the rights that everybody else does. And fundamentally, that's where the unions stay strong, is that you went through the same education and training that everybody else did. Same with the teachers, same with the firefighters, same with the everything else. You still went through that basic fundamentals. You put that time in, you put that work in. But just because you don't want to do more than your 9 to 5 doesn't mean it's bad on you, because you could still be the best worker on the job. That just doesn't mean that you're going to make as much as the guy who decided to take more responsibility on, like the foreman or the super. So you're not going to make as much as they may, but guess what? You still get the fundamentals, and your family gets the fundamentals, and their children, if they decide to pursue something close while also being in a union, they're guaranteed to get that basic fundamental right of healthcare, eye care, benefits, pension, and everything else that, like I said, unlike people that are non-union, and I'm going to put that out there, people that are non-union, their companies may not put into their pension. They may have to go out and get their own 401k or their own Roth IRA or get their own, financial plan. In the union will not only help you set that up and forces you to set that up so that you're financially stable and set for the future, but the companies sign a contract, which is the collective bargaining agreement, that says not only are they going to pay out every week for their own pension to make sure that they're okay, but we're also going to match a percentage of it as well. So I'm going to put $100 away every week. Guess what? They're going to put half that. They're going to put $50 for every hour of work. Mm-hmm. So not only is it on the person, it's on the company that you work for. And that's a collective bargaining agreement. That's a contractually binding agreement that they have to pay your benefits along with you. It's not just all on you, but it's on you and it's on them to do the right thing by the worker. No matter if they're the foreman, they're the super, or they're a journeyman, or if they're an apprentice. Because guess what? I'm an apprentice, but my company still matches what I put into my, what I put into my weekly, i.e. my pension and my 401k. I put in a percentage, they match that percentage, up to a percentage, of course, but they do that, right? So that's fundamentally, that's what it's about, is about being financially stable for the future. But not only that, but also supporting and providing for your family, which the unions say is also 100% important, because guess what? If your family's not okay, then you're going to have to be taking sick leave, because they need to, they need you as, if we're saying you're the sole provider, they need you as the sole provider to go to work. Well, guess what? If you can't go to work, that's why you put into the HRA. That's why you pay into the family leave reimbursement. Because guess what? When shit hits the fan, they've already taken out a small percentage of your paycheck to make sure that, guess what? When that time comes,
be okay.
You need that time off to take family leave or whatever it is that's going on in your life, they're going to pay out for that. And all you got to do is submit a tiny little form and say, hey, I need a month, I need 2 months, whatever it is, and I need to be paid for this because I'm not going to be able to survive. Well, guess what? You've been paying in for the 15 years that you've been in the union. You've been paying into that. Guess how much money you got in there? A shit ton. And if you need to take a month off, you need to take a 2 month off for your family to get yourself back on track, or take care of your sick mother or sick whatever, you get that money. No problem. Take care of your family. Come back when you're ready.
So real quick, I was supposed to be pro union.
Correct.
Sounds like he's still agreeing with me that a union would be beneficial to you and Target security or home
for Target
or anything.
For
they
Target,
already do that without me. They already do all that for me without being in a union.
But it would guarantee it with a union.
It's already guaranteed after you work 90 days.
Can I say why they do that?
Go ahead.
Simply, the reason why they do that at Target and they do that at Walmart
And
is
Safeway.
because that's a union busting tactic. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
That's all that is. That's why when the Walmart workers were fighting for better wages, were fighting for, equal opportunity and everything else, they were like, well, unions offering all this stuff. And Walmart clapped back and basically, one, union busted, but two, said, oh shit, we aren't offering what the unions are offering, so let's start offering
we need to meet them that.
We need to try to meet them. Exactly.
So it's a good thing.
No, because
So
union would be better. So
It's the same shit.
no,
though.
the only reason
you get what you
Walmart-
get because of unions.
So it's
yes.
like-
because they're in competition.
It's basically the same thing.
No, but it'd be better with a union still, because they put all that effort into not getting a union. They give you more in order for you to not get a union, because they know a union would give you more than they would give you.
I'm fine with that.
Not even that. Not even that. What it's basically what basically it comes down to is, guess what? We're gonna give you this, but guess what? If you get fired from Target, you got to start filling out applications again, don't you, boy? Mm-hmm. Your family's healthcare and Medicare and all the care, dental, whatever they're offering you. Guess what? It's gone. You're not getting that back. And this is serious. You're not getting that back unless you find another company. What the union does, it says, okay, you got fired from this Target, right? But you're contracted to work through us, the Shelf Stockers Union of America.
Shit.
Guess what? Not only do you, all right, so you got a reduction in work. So they're saying, for one, they can't just fire you outright, because the union's going to be like, yeah, that's not how that works. Mm-hmm. Put them back to work. For one, they're going to back you. But for two, what they're going to say is, okay, there's a reduction of work. There's not so much work. They don't need this much. They don't need these many baggers here at this Target. Well, if there's, the Baggers Union of America, what they're going to say is, well, there's a call for work at the Walmart that's, in the other part of town. What they're going to say is, well, if there's a call for work for baggers, we have a bagger that's perfectly trained and educated to do the job. We're going to take him and send him. And guess what? Your benefits aren't going to get stopped. Your family's still going to be covered. And that's how that works, is that we have educated workers here that can do the job. Wherever they need to work, we'll send them. We're going to send you to work. And we're not going to penalize you for being able to work and ready to work, and them saying, we just don't like this kid, we're going to fire him. For one, they can't do that. But for two, God forbid there is a time where there's not enough work for you at that Target specifically, we're going to send you 3 miles down the road to the Walmart that's looking for baggers, and you're going to go right back out to work. And guess what? There will be no lapse in your health care. There'll be no lapse in your benefits. Everything's going to be paid. Completely paid and still paid, because guess what? You're still willing and able to work. And that's not your fault.
Really, I believe the biggest thing is that, one, I am a single person. I am just myself. I don't really need anything else.
You're right. You don't need anyone else.
The fact that I don't have a family, it doesn't matter. So I don't need the family care or etc. And that if I were to lose a job, it wouldn't really matter too much based on any situation that I'm in right now. But if I were to be a professional adult, not in school, like it would matter. I understand like how it would benefit in the long run, but right now, short term.
And even if you're still single, because and I don't mean to cut you off, but even if you're still single, because there are journeymen that are single journeymen that just decide not to marry, don't
make
have
more money
kids.
that way.
That's fine. Besides that they don't have any other financial responsibilities. Whatever you end up doing, you will still be paying into everything that you have, rather than going from job to job to job to job to job to job, maybe working 5 years here, or maybe 10 years there, or anything else. Being in that union states, okay, one, I have job security. Two, I have my benefits and my health care. Three, no matter what I end up doing in the future, and this is the point, is that whether you want to stay single or you want to have a family, you're still going to be protected. And that's the bottom line, is that you will always be protected. Whether you decide to have a family or not, you will always be protected. You'll always have work. And at the end of your, 25, 30-year career of being, if we're talking about, the bagger, like if, we had the Baggers Union of the United States, if you did your time in, whether you're single or not, at the end of your tenure, at the end of your time, you will have elapsed so much time in and so much money that you can retire as a union bagger with still X amount of dollars each month. You get your pension, and then at the end, and besides your pension, you also get your Social Security. So no matter what you do, you will always be set, regardless of whether you have a family or not. It doesn't matter. You put your time in, you deserve to be paid out for that time. Simple as that.
No, I agree.
I'm gonna stop it there because I gotta work tomorrow. I'll be putting in 12 hours tomorrow.
Not quite same, but still same, brother.
I'll be putting in 12 hours tomorrow because I'm back at work.
Got that 8.5 or 7.5.
I got 12 hours coming up tomorrow. I got 7 hours straight time, and I got 4 hours OT.
Well, you do you, man. You kill it.
You know what I'm saying? Because after my contract states that I'm contracted to work 7 hours, and every minute and every hour after that time is considered over. Exactly. So I did my contractually binding agreement right there. I said I'm contracted to work my 7 hours on this job specifically.
Or else you pay me more.
Or else you owe me more money because I'm doing more for you than you're doing for me. Because I could have went home, but I'm staying here to continue the job and continue doing the job that I'm trained to do. I deserve to have a little bit of extra money in my pocket at the end of the day because I did for you more than you could do for yourself. Mm-hmm. Drops mic. Guys, I'm Plant Daddy. You guys can follow me. You guys can do whatever. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow Two Dudes Drinking Beer. This is Josh. This is Alec. They're great guys.
Thank you.
Plant Daddy does stream sometimes. I watched him stream some Rocket League the other day, a couple weeks ago.
So follow Plant Daddy streams for some Rocket League, boy.
Yeah, I do play a little bit of Rocket League. I will be going live soon now that I'm back from my little hiatus. If you guys want to follow, please follow. You don't need to subscribe. I'm not verified or anything like that, so you can't really subscribe to me. But if you guys drop me a follow, it definitely would benefit me. But yeah, guys, this has been a great stream. I can't wait to see what we do next week. This has been Plant Daddy. You guys have a great night.
You too, man. Love you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Love you too, guys. Bye.
So that leaves just us.
Sweet.
What'd you learn from today?
That every time we have a segment set aside for something, we never get even halfway through it. I've got a ton of notes that I didn't touch from American Factory.
Yeah, I got 2 whole pages.
And how many of those notes did you touch?
Like 7.
Yeah. So I feel like it was fun. It was great. Obviously, I love the conversation birthed from that. But I still feel like I could talk about American Factory for an hour or two.
375 million people globally, keyword globally, will lose work due to automation in 2025 or 2031 or some shit like that.
And I've got some great notes, and I think you've got some great notes. I think maybe next time we should just revisit this, get all the notes out of the way.
At another time.
At another time?
Not today.
No.
Another time.
For sure not today. I'm saying like
it might not be.
I'm saying like Wednesday, maybe next Monday.
It might not be on the 4th.
Sure.
It might not be on the 9th.
I'm just saying.
It'll be at another time.
Whether it was drunk history or whatever, we always set time aside. And we had a great discussion, but it wasn't about American Factory. It was provoked from American Factory. But
you could tie it back into it.
But I've got a lot of notes about American Factory that we never discussed.
That's fine. It ties back into it.
So, yeah.
Overarching themes.
Yeah. And I'm cool with that if you're cool with that. But
I'm cool with it. Like I said, it might not be the 4th. It might not be the 9th. It might not ever happen again.
and the next day, and the next day.
But what matters is it did happen.
It did happen, and it was fun.
We organized a movie book club.
And what I wanted to say is like, how cool is it? I just realized like, how cool is it that we get to connect Brazil and New York and California all in one stream? That's fucking special, bro. I don't know anyone
And
else doing
Sweden.
that. And Sweden. Thank you for Decadence for coming. Decadence, if you're still hanging out with us, every Monday and Wednesday, 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we do this show.
3 o'clock California time.
Please join us again. We'd love to have you. But Jesus, man, it was a good show. Great podcasts. Thank you for your opinions.
Thank you to Rogue Brewing Company.
Thank you to Rogue Brewing Company. Thank you to Ghost Hand. Thank you to Plant Daddy. Thank you to Josh for all your takes and sitting down and watching the film.
I did nothing.
But we all did something. Rolo wants to get out. I want to get some goddamn food. And this is a good place to wrap it up. A 3-hour podcast. Casual, bro. This has been a long one. So
Yeah. It's like 2:50.
let's wrap it up.
Well, thanks guys for being here. Catch us again on Wednesday, same time, same place. Twitch.tv/2dudes drinking beer. I'm Josh.
I'm Alec. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Goodbye.